Chapter 1. Sharp criticism of BB Dong. Everyone is terrified. Spirit City. Pope's Palace. Having just finished a tiring day of administrative tasks, BB Dong did not want to think about any work-related matters anymore. She easily removed the luxurious long dress and crown she was wearing, leaving only an elegant purple slip dress, and then lay quietly on the bed. Although BB Dong was no longer young, as the spirit master of the Duluo continent, her body still maintained its most attractive state. Her fair and exquisite facial features were delicate without any makeup, and her curvaceous figure, especially the ample bust in front, was infinitely charming, coupled with a pair of slender, white legs over a meter long underneath. Covered by the purple slip dress, both the upper and lower parts were faintly visible, displaying her near-ultimate beauty. This combination of the noble temperament of a superior and the charm of a mature woman would likely make anyone who saw her completely fall for her at a single glance. And just as she was lying down, feeling increasingly lazy and preparing to rest, suddenly, a faint point of light appeared on her right hand. BB Dong was attracted to it and muttered in confusion, "What is this?" She waved her arm and found that the faint point of light seemed to have merged into her body and could not be shaken off, which greatly surprised her. What kind of thing could silently enter my body? Afterward, BB Dong touched it with her other hand, and in the next second, a light screen that only she could see appeared. At the very top was a title similar to a question, and below it was blank. BB Dong looked at the title and muttered, "Please provide a sharp critique of BB Dong's views on love." Huh. BB Dong's expression changed drastically. What was this thing? It had appeared for no reason and even involved her. Before BB Dong could read the specific content of the sharp critique, she discovered a large amount of information. For example, below the title, there was something similar to a pen name. Is this person the author? This person's pen name was Ye Shenge, a name that carried a sense of mockery and hedonism. Moreover, below the blank space, there was something similar to a comment section. In the next second, a comment popped up. "Chief Young Miss, what is this? How is there content about the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff? No eating bunnies, BB Dong. Is BB Dong the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff? BB Dong, I curse your whole family to die." BB Dong was very puzzled when she saw such strange content. What is this thing? How can someone speak on it? Can I? She tried to touch it and found that she could indeed post similar comments. And she could define her own name. As the Supreme Pontiff, she naturally didn't need to hide it. BB Dong, what is this? Who sent this? Also, what is the meaning of the title? Give me an explanation. However, she had just sent this comment when she immediately saw the light screen change. Below the original title, in the large blank space, text content finally began to appear. ... West of Spirit City. In a house in Spirit Village. Songyi looked at the virtual keyboard the system had created for him, as well as a clear screen, and he felt as if he had returned to his previous life. Sigh, I've been in the Duluo continent for 16 years, and only today on my birthday did the system awaken for me. This system is also strange. It requires me to provide a sharp critique of the characters and matters it provides every day to receive rewards. Please provide a sharp critique of BB Dong's views on love. Looking at the large title in front of him, Songyi began to type the first sentence. BB Dong's views on love, if evaluated on a scale of 100 points, my choice is minus 100 points. Then, he began to type out his critique while thinking. The system will give me rewards based on the results of my sharp critique. I don't know if it can improve my spirit and talent. Never mind that I didn't have a cheat in the early stages. I awakened my spirit 10 years ago and actually awakened a weed trash spirit, not even as good as blue silver grass. My innate spirit power is only half a level. I worked myself to the bone, and now I've only managed to cultivate to level 19, barely getting a spot as a laborer in Spirit Hall. System, I will try my best to be harsh in my critique. You must be generous with the rewards. Songyi sighed, then threw himself back into typing, preparing to scold BB Dong ruthlessly. Since this is a sharp critique system, the harsher the scolding, the better the rewards. Thinking of this, he typed even more vigorously, determined to write something that would break BB Dong's defenses. ... Heaven-Do Empire. Qian Runshui looked at the content on the light screen and sneered disdainfully. It seems this is some kind of information transmission device. The top is the title or main theme, and the blank space below should be where someone is writing a critique of BB Dong based on this title. The comments at the very bottom are probably from people like me who happen to connect to this light screen. Only those who are connected can see the critique content written by the author and post similar comments. I just don't know who is writing these sharp critique texts. Qian Runshui looked at the first sentence of the critique that had begun to appear and found it ridiculous. BB Dong's views on love, if evaluated on a scale of 100 points, my choice is minus 100 points. If it were anyone else, they might have some slight interest in the topic of a sharp critique of BB Dong's views on love. But for Qian Runshui, BB Dong was her mother, yet she completely failed to fulfill her duties as a mother and was simply not fit to be a person. She was happy to see anything that had a negative effect on BB Dong. This first sentence directly denied BB Dong's views on love, and Qian Runshui was very satisfied. She immediately said her name and posted a comment. I am an orphan, this light screen critique is quite reasonable. BB Dong, you idiot, what views on love do you have? ... Pope's Palace. BB Dong was furious when she saw the critique of herself on the light screen, just from reading the first sentence. Who wrote this critique? Since when did it become anyone else's turn to critique my views on love? This is simply presumptuous, and who is this I am an orphan daring to scold me? She immediately retorted in the comments below. BB Dong at I am an orphan, how bold. Who are you, that you can belittle me at will? However, as soon as these words were posted, others replied below. No eating bunnies, BB Dong, I am an accountant. What are you? So what if I scold you? I'm scolding you today. I'm just saying this light screen appeared at the right time, and what it says is correct. Du Guyan, well scolded. My grandfather said that the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff is not a good thing. To think there is such a treasure today that can even allow others to sharply critique the Supreme Pontiff. Interesting. BB Dong had just replied, and immediately two people teamed up to scold her. BB Dong was instantly enraged. How bold, what are these things? It was one thing for a light screen to dare to sharply critique her, but there was actually a group of people who could refute her below, and even scold her anonymously. Very well, this light screen is already courting death. Chapter 2, Connecting the Women. So you have it too. BB Dong was immediately about to continue speaking to regain her ground. However, someone still stood by her side and proactively expressed their stance for her. Charming Fox, how dare you speak about the Supreme Pontiff like that? How has the Supreme Pontiff offended you? Is it your place to be so presumptuous here? Bing Bing is polite, I also feel there's no need for such insults. This light screen is mainly for commentary, right? The sharp critique has only just begun, why not wait and see what actually appears? Most loyal believer of the sea god, this light screen is so mysterious that even I cannot see through it. Today's theme is a sharp critique of BB Dong's view on love. Perhaps there will be sharp critiques of others in the coming days. Let us watch for now, it might be useful. Seeing that these people were finally not insulting her, BB Dong felt a bit better. She began to analyze those who posted comments, but couldn't really tell anything, except for this most loyal believer of the sea god who should be from Sea God Island. The names used by the others were relatively normal, and she didn't even know who those people insulting her were. BB Dong felt helpless and could only watch the main content of the light screen first. HMPH. I will not bother with them for now. I want to see how this person critiques my view on love. Speaking of this, BB Dong immediately thought of that middle-aged man with a crew cut, Yu Xiaogang, the legendary figure hailed as the theoretical grandmaster of the spirit world. That was her true love, and also the regret of her unrequited love. Could it be that this light screen, while critiquing her view on love, would also show information about Yu Xiaogang? With a glimmer of expectation, BB Dong watched very attentively. Continuing from the previous disparaging remark, the text on the light screen updated bit by bit. It is often said that women tend to admire the strong. This can be seen in most normal women. After all, who doesn't like an excellent member of the opposite sex? Who doesn't like that kind of person who has strength, talent, and good looks? This is also why, later on, N.A.N and N.A.N, even as people of the Spirit Hall, still scrambled to fawn over N.A.N. There's no way around it, you have to admit that N.A.N has fearless talent, formidable strength, and is also handsome. It is normal for young girls' hearts to flutter. Although they themselves cannot distinguish between the big picture and personal feelings, and have something wrong with their heads, it is still understandable that they like a powerful person. On the light screen, the sharp critique of BB Dong unexpectedly started with other people. This stunned everyone watching the light screen. What was this light screen saying? Future events. In the future, N.A.N and N.A.N will like a person named N.A.N. Heavens, does the content in this light screen actually have prophetic properties? Could it be that it can predict future situations? In an instant, many people immediately expressed their opinions. Du Guyan, if I understood correctly, this light screen is talking about future events, right? My god, how could it know about future things? No eating bunnies, could it be made by gods? Unless it's a god, how could it? And I completely can't understand where this light screen comes from. Calm and composed, who are N.A.N and N.A.N? Are they characters from the Spirit Hall? Why would they fawn over the N.A.N, and where is N.A.N from? The only princess, third brother. Isn't third brother Xiao Wu's? How did it get involved with other women? Who are N.A.N and N.A.N? Meow meow meow, you call him third brother. Wait, aren't you? Do you also have this light screen? Charming fox bullshit, what kind of rubbish is this, and how can you say N.A.N will fawn over some N.A.N? At the only princess, tell me, who is N.A.N? How dare you slander N.A.N? I am an orphan, what is N.A.N? At the only princess, hurry up and reveal the identity of this so-called N.A.N. I must execute him for N.A.N. How dare you slander someone like this? BB Dong N.A.N. I have noted it, HMPH, if what this light screen says is true, I must resolve the future trouble for Nana. Inside the Pope's palace. BB Dong's face was gloomy. She had originally thought this light screen was here to humiliate her, but she didn't expect it to expose such a secret. It seemed that what the light screen said could even involve future events. Given the mysterious origin of the light screen, BB Dong was inclined to believe it, as it could silently plan a light screen for a titled Duluo. Thinking about it, the person who made the light screen, as well as the person who wrote the text, must at least be above the gods, otherwise they couldn't do this. The words of a suspected god are highly likely to be true. Could it be that Nana and Xiao Shui will really be bewitched by this person named N.A.N in the future? Looking at the implication of this light screen, the two of them might even affect the grand plan of the Spirit Hall because of this N.A.N. HMPH, tomorrow, I will have Yu Guan and Gui Mei go and investigate what kind of thing N.A.N is. BB Dong's face was cold, and her ample chest heaved violently. However, seeing this, she continued to watch. The light screen only mentioned them, but it was mainly for the sharp critique of herself. Shrek Academy. Ning Rongrong, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zuqing. The three of them gathered in the dormitory late at night, with looks of horror on their faces. So, you also have this light screen. Xiao Wu, you have it too, and Zuqing, heavens, what a coincidence. This light screen has a mysterious origin and can even predict the future. It's likely some kind of treasure. The three of us must hide it. Zhu Zuqing was the calmest and advised in advance. Rongrong, you are the only princess, right? Next time, you must not call him third brother. If someone recognizes you, it might lead to a great disaster. Ning Rongrong nodded in lingering fear and quickly stated, okay, I will be careful. However, Xiao Wu, the light screen says that N.A.N and N.A.N will fawn over third brother in the future. What does that mean? It doesn't mean fawning in the literal sense, right? Isn't third brother your person? Upon hearing this, Xiao Wu's face turned red, and she immediately refused. What do you mean by my person? Little San and I are just siblings. How could I? I don't care who fawns over him. I am just his sister. Ning Rongrong chuckled. Alright Xiao Wu, why are you shy in front of us? However, perhaps we misunderstood. Let's continue to see what the light screen writes. Even if we don't know if third brother will get involved with other women in the future, we can at least see the embarrassing things about the Supreme Pontiff BB Dong. Xiao Wu nodded. HMPH, so she is the Supreme Pontiff. I will definitely deal with her. Let's keep watching. After saying this, the three women didn't dwell on it but stared at the light screen again, wanting to get other information. However, Xiao Wu was still somewhat affected. Could it be that Little San would really have other women in the future? And those two women were from the Spirit Hall, the force of her enemies. Thinking of this, Xiao Wu felt a little disappointed involuntarily. Chapter 3, Liking Yu Xiaogang, BB Dong's Taste. On the light screen, the sharp review was still continuing. So, even if other people suck up to their enemies, it's still understandable. But this brain-dead BB Dong, she actually fell for a piece of trash who can't break through level 30 his entire life. It's truly a miracle. It makes one wonder if BB Dong's head got squeezed by a door when she was born. Out of all the people you could like, why did you have to like that idiot Yu Xiaogang? As a spirit master in a Duluo world where strength reigns supreme, what advantages does Yu Xiaogang even have? Strength, permanently stuck at level 29. Talent, built on plagiarism. Looks, exclusively for those with a deformity fetish. Character, absolutely zero accountability or responsibility. Merits, can't think of any for now. My god, it wasn't until I started writing this that I suddenly realized, how does this Yu Xiaogang not have a single redeeming quality? What kind of mental state must BB Dong be in to be able to stomach someone like Yu Xiaogang? My only comment on this is that BB Dong must have been truly starving. It is precisely because of this confusion that I actually believe what was written in San Shao's side story, that Bibi Dong liked Yu Xiaobing because she fell into an illusion cast by Jian Zunji. If it weren't for Jian Zunji wanting Bibi Dong to sever her emotions and abandon love, why would any normal person fall for Yu Xiaobing? Based on his thick skin, based on his ability to plagiarize, or because he loves abandoning his women and refuses to take responsibility. This speech practically roasted Bibi Dong and Yu Xiaobing to the absolute bottom. Only at this moment did the people connected to the light screen realize that Bibi Dong, the current supreme pontiff, actually liked the man known as the Grand Master. For a moment, countless people felt extremely awkward, not knowing what to say. Bibi Dong, shut up. Who wrote these things? Show yourself if you have the guts. Xiaobing is not that bad at all. Xiaobing has his own talent. He is a Grand Master in the field of theory. Calm and composed, exactly. Xiaobing is a genius who, despite starting from the absolute bottom, still strove forward and broke the shackles of fate with his own abilities. He is a theoretical genius. What does a broken light screen like you know? Bibi Dong, at calm and composed, who are you? Do you also recognize Xiaobing's worth? Calm and composed, although I detest you, Bibi Dong, I have to admit your taste isn't bad. Xiaobing is indeed outstanding. If anything, you are the one who doesn't deserve him. Bibi Dong, bullshit. How could I not deserve Xiaobing? Who on earth are you, and what is your relationship with Xiaobing? Calm and composed, what relationship Xiaobing has with me is none of your business. Bibi Dong, stop throwing a tantrum here. I just want to support Xiaobing. The two shared a common enemy. Although Bibi Dong did not know who this person was, seeing how fiercely she defended Yu Xiaobing, she decided not to pursue the matter further. Looking at the light screen, the anger on Bibi Dong's face became more and more obvious, and she directly shot a wisp of spirit power at it. Whoosh, asterisk. The spirit power was absorbed by the light screen on the spot, as if it had never existed. Bibi Dong was greatly alarmed. It actually absorbed my attack perfectly. It seems it really might be a creation of the gods. But even if it is a god, they absolutely cannot slander Xiaobing. Do you have any idea how hard Xiaobing works? If not for the limitations of his spirit, he would be the most dazzling star on the continent. I like someone like him. I like his outstanding self. Is there a problem with that? You worldly trash dust can't comprehend Xiaobing's excellence. However, as she said this, Bibi Dong suddenly froze. She quickly scrolled through the text of the sharp review and noticed the phrase illusion cast by Jian Zunji. This person said he saw it in a side story. What a side story was, Bibi Dong did not understand. But what did illusion cast by Jian Zunji mean? Bibi Dong furrowed her delicate brows. This person is not only slandering Xiaobing, but also slandering me. My feelings for Xiaobing come from the heart. Some illusion, absolutely impossible. And it even involves the trash Jian Zunji. Back then, in order to keep me away from Xiaobing, Jian Zunji went as far as to. Speaking up to this point, Bibi Dong clenched her right fist, radiating a chilling intent to kill. She gritted her teeth and said, that beast loathed Xiaobing so much, how could he possibly cast an illusion to make me fall in love with Xiaobing? HMPH, absolute nonsense. My feelings for Xiaobing come from the heart, there's absolutely no issue. Having said that, she felt a bit better, seemingly having comforted herself, and prepared to continue watching. To her surprise, various comments began to appear below. No eating bunnies to you, this bad person Bibi Dong, actually like the Grand Master. As the king of theory, the Grand Master is too good for you. The only princess interesting. I only knew how formidable the Grand Master's theories were, but I didn't expect even the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall to like him. Tisk tisk. Meow meow meow, but why does this light screen keep belittling the Grand Master? It even says his theories are plagiarized. What does that mean? Is the light screen lying? Bibi Dong, how could the Grand Master's theories possibly be plagiarized? Those are conclusions he researched himself. The 10 core competencies of spirits shock the continent and is world-renowned. It is all the Grand Master's own doing. Calm and composed, exactly. Xiaobing is a genius. I've seen his theories, and they were indeed researched by himself. Who could he have plagiarized them from? These two continued to blindly defend Yu Xiaobing as always, but in the next second, someone raised a doubt. Du Guyan, is that Grand Master really that amazing? Why did my grandfather say that his theories are just common sense to high-level spirit masters? Is it because high-level spirit masters simply disdain publishing them, so he published them just to fish for fame and reputation? Calm and composed, impossible. At Du Guyan, who are you? What kind of nobody is your grandfather? What does he know about theory? Even Bibi Dong, a titled Duluo, acknowledges Xiaobing's theories. Is your grandfather a titled Duluo? Heaven Do City. With short hair, a curvaceous and seductive figure, and a short skirt that accentuated her pert rear, Du Guyan's face darkened when she saw Calm and composed tagging her. My grandfather isn't a titled Duluo. As if you are. Who is this? Why so aggressive? Is it a crime to talk about Yu Xiaobing? My grandfather said long ago that this Yu Xiaobing's theories are dime a dozen, and all high-level spirit masters know them. It seems the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall and this person are both fools, to actually become like this by that kind of trash. Tisk tisk. She was about to send a new comment, wanting to say that her grandfather was indeed a titled Duluo who had seen right through Yu Xiaobing's hypocrisy. However, fearing she would expose her identity, she deleted it and rewrote her message. Du Guyan HMPH. I can't be bothered to argue with an ignorant person like you. What my grandfather says is far more authoritative than that Yu Xiaobing. And right after she posted this, another comment immediately chimed in. Most loyal believer of the sea god, actually, I also think there's a problem. Normally, the stronger a spirit master is, the more accurate their theoretical summaries should be, since practice brings true knowledge. Since this Yu Xiaobing is only at level 29, how did he write spirit master theories? Did he rely on guessing, or imagination, or perhaps, by copying the empirical theories that others had long summarized? On the distant sea god island, the level 99 super Duluo, Peerless Duluo Bosaishi, expressed the most rational view. Chapter 4, Who is Tang San? I'll kill him. Seeing that someone else was questioning Yu Xiaobing, Bibi Dong's anger was ignited once more. Bibi Dong, at most loyal believer of the sea god, who are you to sea god island? In my eyes, you are just a low-level spirit master. Is Xiaobing's theory something a low-level spirit master like you can understand? Most loyal believer of the sea god, I'm sorry, but I am level 99, Bibi Dong. Others might fear you, but I certainly do not. I am questioning Yu Xiaobing based on experience. You are also a titled Duluo, can you really not see that something is amiss? Bibi Dong, I know who you are. You old hag, you, who became a titled Duluo purely by luck, what do you know about theory? Xiaobing cannot be wrong. Most loyal believer of the sea god, although I don't know what this extra chapter, the light screen is talking about is, it seems highly likely that the light screen is right. Bibi Dong, you useless fool, you must have been influenced by an illusion to fall in love with such a useless man. I advise you to check your own state first. After saying this, on the distant sea god island, Peerless Duluo Bosaishi had no interest in arguing with this crazy woman anymore. But the mention of some illusion left everyone somewhat astonished. Calm and composed, what on earth does this light screen mean? An illusion? Where would an illusion come from? Although Bibi Dong is disgusting, her liking Xiaogang must be because of Xiaogang's talent. How could there be any illusion? Meow meow meow, but does this light screen need to light us? The light screen says the Grandmaster's theories are plagiarized, and others say that high-level spirit masters all know the Grandmaster's theories. Who exactly is the one with the problem? As soon as these words came out, they aroused everyone's vigilance once again. In the spirit hall, Huliana, Jian Runshui, and others all expressed their agreement that this Grandmaster was indeed a useless person who fished for fame. Du Guyan expressed her stance again, saying that her grandfather was knowledgeable anyway, at least far more so than a level 29 trash. Shrek Academy. Xiao Wu and the other two looked at the constant arguments in the comments section. Indeed, many people were starting to doubt Yu Xiaogang. The three of them were very surprised. Xiao Wu was the first to speak up and ask, wrong, Zuqing, why are so many people saying there's something wrong with the Grandmaster? Setting others aside, this most loyal believer of the sea god seems to be level 99, at least no weaker than Bibi Dong, right? Even she says there's something wrong with the Grandmaster. I'm starting to get a bit influenced. Ning Rongrong fell into thought. At this moment, she began to look at the Grandmaster from a different perspective. Finally, she came to a conclusion. You know, if you think about it carefully, what exactly has the Grandmaster's teaching to us been? Actually, it's just running and physical training, right? At most, he requires us to eat more good food to improve our physical fitness. To be honest, I was already doing these things back when I was a child in the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. My only change here at Shrek is being supervised, so I don't dare to slack off anymore. Xiao Wu nodded and spoke with a hint of doubt. Me too. When I was a child at N.A.N Academy, I was playing all the time, which is why my spirit power didn't progress that fast. Once I got here, I was just forced to be more diligent. There hasn't really been any special teaching. Zhu Zuqing stroked her chin and also stated her view. I am from the Star Luo Empire. Indeed, some of the theories the Grandmaster mentioned have long been passed down in our family. This light screen might have been created by someone of a much higher level. Could it be that the Grandmaster really is just a person who fishes for fame? Having said this, although doubts had arisen in their hearts, they were after all Yu Xiaogang students now, so it was really hard for them to say anything more. In the end, out of consideration for their relationship, they could only temporarily suppress these doubts. Zhu Zuqing said, forget it, let's keep watching. Maybe there will be other content. If we watch more, we might get an answer. But despite comforting themselves this way, the seeds of doubt had already been planted in their hearts. On the light screen. Just as they expected, it continued to update. And it is precisely because of Bibi Dong's brain-dead outlook on love that she ended up raising a disciple who would suck up to Spirit Hall's enemy, namely Tang-san, in the future. Even the daughter she gave birth to also fell in love with Tang-san. In the future, these two spared Tang-san more than once, ultimately leading to the destruction of Spirit Hall. Therefore, in short, Bibi Dong's outlook on love has a major significance for its existence. Of course, its major significance lies in the realm of negative examples. Sharp commentary complete. Written up to this point, ending with those last 4 words, everyone could finally see that this sharp commentary had finally concluded. Although the text was brief, the information it conveyed was absolutely shocking. The others were all discussing it in the comments section. Bing Bing is polite. Who is this Tang-san? Why would both the Supreme Pontiff's disciple and daughter fall in love with him, even causing the destruction of Spirit Hall? Calm and composed. Who cares who he is? Tang-san, I'll remember this name. If I ever meet him, I will definitely do everything I can to help him, just to have him destroy your Spirit Hall. Du Guyan. Tang-san sounds like a pretty boy. Otherwise, how could he be so good at seducing women? I don't like this type. Charming fox, don't talk nonsense. Huliana would never cause the destruction of Spirit Hall because of a man. I am Huliana's friend, and no one doubts her loyalty to Spirit Hall. At Bibi Dong, your holiness, please believe in Huliana. I am an orphan if what this light screen says is true. Then Tang-san already has a path to his own death. Pope's palace. Bibi Dong's face was gloomy. She had watched this light screen slander and demean her the entire time. It had even dragged her disciple and daughter into it later on. However, this also forced her to start taking it seriously. Tang-san, is it? Fine, tomorrow I will definitely have you go and find this person. Also, Nana will actually fall in love with Spirit Hall's enemy in the future. It seems I must educate Nana properly, otherwise she might easily go astray. I don't know who wrote the text on this light screen. Now that the content under this title is finished, will there be other content? Bibi Dong waited, but found nothing new, so she could only give up. As for the light screen, she could easily put it away with a single thought, merging it into her body. It seemed that it would only glow to remind her when new content appeared. Bibi Dong marveled once again at the wondrous nature of this object. It seemed to be a way to peer into the future, something she could not afford to miss. Spirit City. Inside a house in Spirit Village. Song Yi stroked his chin, lying back in his chair as he looked at the sharp commentary on the light screen. He could not see anyone else's comments, nor did he know that the light screen was connected to other people. For Song Yi, this was just an ordinary system where he could get rewards simply by making daily sharp commentaries. Now that the sharp commentary was complete, he wondered what kind of reward he would get. Just as he was thinking, the system's voice rang out. Detected that Master has completed the sharp commentary. The effect of the sharp commentary is perfect. As this is the first reward, you will receive an extra boost. Distributing reward. Spirit evolved into Tree of Life. Chapter 5. Reward. Divine Rank Spirit. 3 girls question Yu Xiaogang. Holy shit, Tree of Life. Hearing this reward, Song Yi simultaneously sensed some power within his body awakening. He was nearly scared to death. Tree of Life. It couldn't be the Tree of Life that is the true form of the Goddess of Life, a God King of the God Realm, could it? The Goddess of Life is a God King transformed from the Tree of Life. With this kind of spirit, won't I be immortal in the future? As he spoke, he quickly summoned his original spirit. Previously, Song Yi's spirit was just the most ordinary weed, the kind that couldn't even compare to blue silver grass, purely green, purely sprouting, and without any branches. Now, due to the first time reward receiving an extra boost, his weed spirit had actually evolved into the divine rank spirit, the Tree of Life. Furthermore, it was a God King grade spirit. If he cultivated well, he would very likely inherit the God position of the Goddess of Life in the future. Even if that didn't work, with such talent, inheriting some other first-class god wouldn't be bad, right? The most important thing was that this system wasn't a one-time deal. If he continued to criticize sharply in the future, he could keep receiving rewards. Even creating his own god position wasn't out of the question. Thinking of this, Song Yi couldn't help but gasp. Looking at the emerald green tree of life, which surged with a seemingly endless, immortal life force, his heart was filled with immense satisfaction. Good, fantastic. A god king grade spirit. As long as I keep criticizing, reaching the peak will be a piece of cake. The system came at the perfect time. Although it's 10 years late, it's finally here. Song Yi then tested the energy of the tree of life, finding that although he was only level 19, he already possessed power unimaginable for a spirit master of the same level. He could restore his state at will. Even if he slashed his own thigh with a knife, it would heal instantly. This kind of vitality was countless times stronger than things like the 9-heart begonia or the emerald swan. This was the source of life, the strongest existence of vitality. The only pity was that the spirit's offensive power was limited. Although Song Yi could condense life force to blast opponents, its power couldn't compare to an attack system spirit master. To make up for this flaw, he would need to choose his spirit rings carefully in the future. Furthermore, my first spirit ring is only around 100 years. Sigh, my talent was too poor. When I transmigrated, I was born as the child of ordinary people, with no money and no ability. Risking my life back then just to kill a spirit beast was already the best I could do. I wonder if future critiques can upgrade my first spirit ring. Thinking of this, Song Yi was still full of anticipation, waiting for tomorrow's critique task. Apart from him, other places had long been affected, with countless thoughts cropping up. On Seagot Island, Peerless Duluobo Saishi was still studying the appearance of the light screen. In the Pope's palace, Bibi was considering how to teach her disciple tomorrow not to be a love brain. In the Heaven Do Empire, Du Guyan was still arguing with others, insisting that her grandfather was right and Yu Xiaobing was just a fraud. At Lamba Academy, the owner of the name Calm and Composed, who was Luer Long, was confronting Du Guyan, trading insults. But in reality, because of the light screen's conclusions, Luer Long had already begun to doubt. After all, the light screen had stated that Yu Xiaobing plagiarized his theories and was irresponsible. How could Luer Long remain completely unaffected? Especially since the light screen said Bibi fell in love with Yu Xiaobing because of an illusion, which made Luer Long question things as well. She muttered to herself at Lamba Academy. If Bibi fell in love with Xiaobing because she was under the influence of an illusion. What about me? Was I, too? After all, logically speaking, Xiaobing indeed lacked strength, and back then, he just ran away, leaving me to my fate. If my love also originated from an illusion and is fake, what should I do? Sigh. In the end, Luer Long could only sigh helplessly and let nature take its course. Her situation was similar to Bibi Dong's. After being influenced by the light screen, both of them began to question the very nature of this relationship. If the essence of their feelings was fake, did they still need to love Yu Xiaobing? The only way they could comfort themselves was by telling themselves that this light screen was talking nonsense, though they couldn't be sure. In other places, such as Tianshui Academy, Shui Binger was also chatting within the screen. Her name was Bing Bing is polite. Meanwhile, Xiao Wu and the other two girls couldn't sleep at all. As the seeds of doubt grew late into the night, they kept discussing and discovered more and more issues with the Grandmaster. It seemed that many of the flaws Yu Xiaobing had originally hidden could now be easily noticed upon closer inspection. This greatly surprised Xiao Wu and the other two. They had never thought about it before, but looking at it now, it seemed the Grandmaster really wasn't that impressive. A sleepless night passed. Until the next morning. A new round of training began at Shrek. At this time, Yu Xiaobing, as usual, prepared to direct everyone to exercise and run laps. However, right after everyone gathered, Ning Rongrong courageously asked. Grandmaster, can I ask you a question? Yu Xiaobing was startled. They were just about to start running laps. What did she want? But he still nodded. Go ahead and ask. Ning Rongrong pondered for a few seconds before finally asking, puzzled, Grandmaster, did you come up with your 10 core competencies of spirits entirely on your own? I don't mean anything by it, I just think you're really amazing, Grandmaster. Ning Rongrong even concealed her true purpose, asking with a look of admiration. Hearing this, Yu Xiaobing was extremely pleased. He had originally thought something was wrong, but she was actually just admiring him. He deliberately put on the air of an otherworldly expert, yet he couldn't help but curl his lips into a smile as he said. Of course, wrong. If it weren't a theory I researched and developed myself, on what grounds would I publish it? The 10 core competencies of spirits is a theory I created by condensing everything I've learned in my life, which can ultimately change the entire Spirit Master's world. Unfortunately, advanced theories are often not easily accepted by others. That's why I need you all to prove it for me now. So that's how it is. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong actually had some judgment in her heart. Even Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuqing frowned as they looked at Yu Xiaobing upon hearing this. However, Ning Rongrong still wanted to be cautious, so she asked again, then Grandmaster, such a theory must have been very difficult to come up with, right? Did you ever reference anyone else's theories? Or perhaps, study other people's theories to write your own? Yu Xiaobing continued proudly. Naturally, there was some of that. However, the main theories were all derived from my own research of various data. The few theories of others that I studied were merely to know my opponents and find their loopholes. Although my spirit talent is not high, I am unyielding in my struggles. I have my own talent, and I can still rely on the theories I wrote to shock the Spirit Master's world. Wrong. You must also have this kind of ambition in the future. No matter what, you must rely on yourselves. Only what you obtain through your own hard work is real. Ning Rongrong's eye twitched after hearing this, but she still nodded with a forced smile, pretending to take it to heart. But in reality, from the moment Yu Xiaobing shamelessly uttered those words, Ning Rongrong, Xiao Wu, and Zhu Zuqing were all certain. What was said on that light screen was probably all true. The so-called Grandmaster turned out to be nothing but a hypocrite who plagiarized others' theories and shamelessly took all the credit for himself. Chapter 6. A sharp critique of Yu Xiaobing's theories. Everyone is blown away. Previously, Xiao Wu and the other two only had slight doubts. After all, Yu Xiaobing had taught the three of them for a long time, so they still held some expectations for him. But with Ning Rongrong's test today, Yu Xiaobing actually claimed all the credit for the theories as his own. This allowed the three girls to see the reality of the situation. Because Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing had mentioned that many of the theories the Grandmaster brought up were indeed things they had heard of long ago. Before this, they had thought Yu Xiaobing merely played the role of integrating them, which was still impressive. But now, he shamelessly claimed everyone else's credit as his own, which clearly showed Yu Xiaobing's hypocrisy. The three of them looked at each other. They said nothing, but their eyes spoke volumes. However, still stuck at Shrek Academy, the three girls could only stay for now and plan their next steps carefully. Time passed by bit. On the other side in the spirit hall, Bibi Dong was lecturing Juliana, warning her to stay far away from anyone with the surname Tang. Juliana nodded. Teacher, I understand. Actually, I also received that light screen. I am Charming Fox. I couldn't state it directly last night, so I hope teacher will forgive my offense. Hearing this, BB Dong was slightly surprised. You are charming fox. You connected to that mysterious light screen too. Juliana nodded solemnly. BB Dong was instantly embarrassed and continued to ask, then, yesterday's so-called sharp critique, did you also? Juliana was equally at a loss. Scratching her head, she pretended to be clueless and said, Teacher, I have no interest in any sharp critiques, so I didn't watch it. What's wrong, teacher? Was the content inside very special? I was completely focused on reading the posts of the other mysterious people. Oh, cough cough. BB Dong knew Juliana was saving her face, so she could only change the subject and continue to advise her. In short, Nana, I don't want you to affect Spirit Hall over relationship issues. Spirit Hall's grand plan has been in the works for many years, we cannot afford any losses. Juliana quickly declared her stance and responded resolutely, Teacher, rest assured. I don't care who the person on the other side is. As long as they are an enemy of our Spirit Hall, I will never let them off. I, Juliana, belong to Spirit Hall in life, and in death, my ghost will also belong to Spirit Hall. Good, then I am relieved. BB Dong patted Juliana's delicate shoulder. Looking at this little fox, she felt very pleased. Right at this moment, a figure suddenly flashed into view. Then, a subordinate dressed in golden armor, who was enchanting and feminine yet still a man, knelt on one knee and spoke to BB Dong. Your Highness the Supreme Pontiff, the N.A.N. you asked me to investigate has been found. Oh, BB Dong waved her hand, gesturing for him to rise. This golden-armored man was none other than N.A.N., one of the elders of Spirit Hall, renowned as the Chrysanthemum Duluo. Possessing the top-tier power of a titled Duluo, he was BB Dong's right-hand man. Hearing N.A.N.'s response, BB Dong immediately asked, not caring that Juliana was right beside them. Who exactly is this N.A.N.? N.A.N. explained, Your Majesty, there are quite a few people registered under the name N.A.N. in Spirit Hall. But based on your speculation and information, a young man with special talent, I ultimately identified a kid from Saint Spirit Village of N.A.N. City. This boy's spirit is the blue silver grass. He is currently around 13 or 14 years old and possesses innate full spirit power. This N.A.N. is currently in a place called Soto City, studying at Shrek Academy. According to our information, the Dean of Shrek Academy is Slender, the flying corner of the legendary Golden Triangle. This series of information seems simple, but in reality, it took N.A.N. and his subordinates a long time to gather, filter, integrate, and summarize. Listening to this, BB Dong's expression grew increasingly solemn as she further analyzed the information regarding N.A.N. After a moment, BB Dong had a general idea. Blue silver grass, innate full spirit power. If it were truly a useless spirit, it would be absolutely impossible to possess innate full spirit power. This means his blue silver grass spirit is at least a top-tier spirit. And the only well-known top-tier blue silver grass is the Blue Silver Emperor that Qian Zunji hunted down back then. Furthermore, since this boy's surname is Tang, he must be the bastard child of that fellow Tang Hao and a spirit beast. HMPH. Muttering up to this point, BB Dong suddenly stood up. Her face carried an innate majesty without even being angry, her delicate features knitting together in a very serious expression. Grabbing her scepter with her right hand, she slammed it downward. A terrifying aura erupted on the spot, whipping up a wild wind. BB Dong barked, N.A.N., tomorrow you will personally head to that Saint Spirit Village and continue the investigation. If he truly is Tang Hao's bastard, this seat will absolutely not let him off. Yes, Lord Supreme Pontiff. N.A.N. also knew the critical nature of this. Tang Hao was an enemy of the entire Spirit Hall. If they could find this N.A.N., they could smoothly find Tang Hao. That would make it convenient for Spirit Hall to seek revenge. N.A.N. acknowledged and immediately vanished, leaving only Juliana and BB Dong in the Grand Hall. Seeing that there was nothing else, BB Dong told Juliana to leave first. As she walked away, Juliana was still muttering to herself. So the N.A.N. mentioned on the light screen is actually the son of Spirit Hall's great enemy, Tang Hao. And his family colluded with spirit beasts, they are not of our kind. How could I ever like someone like that? Damn it, whether it's true or false, N.A.N., if I ever run into you, I will definitely kill you. Although she had never met N.A.N. in person, Juliana's killing intent toward him was now uncontrollable. And she was mentally prepared. Just as he had said, if the two of them ever faced each other, they would inevitably fight to the death, there was absolutely no other possibility. Similar situations were playing out all over the continent. On Seagot Island, in the Heaven Do Imperial family, Tianshui Academy, and Lanba Academy, everyone who had seen the light screen, even if they didn't fully believe its content. These people likewise began making preparations, just in case. Time rolled on, bit by bit. Finally, the evening of that day arrived. Outside Spirit City, in a certain house in Spirit Village. Looking at the new critique task for the second day, Songyi also began to ponder the content of his critique. And this time, the title of the new critique was, Please critique Yu Xiaoging's theories. Seeing this title, Songyi in Spirit Village was quite surprised. Interesting, yesterday they had me critique BB Dong's views on love, and today they want me to critique Yu Xiaoging's theories. Isn't this just having me target BB Dong relentlessly? What a pity BB Dong can't see my critique, otherwise she'd die of anger. Songyi sneered twice and thought about his wording, trying to figure out how to make his critique even harsher to drag Yu Xiaoging down to the absolute bottom. Similarly, without his knowledge, as the new critique topic appeared, the light screen once again flashed notifications in the hands of various characters. The chosen ones scattered across the corners of the world quickly opened their light screens, ready to check the new content. Bing Bing is polite. I didn't expect there would be another critique today. Is this a daily topic? The release time is the same as yesterday too. Chapter 7, Harshly Criticizing Yu Xiaoging. Light screen, you're courting death. No eating bunnies. Wow, the light screen really appeared again. Quick, everyone, try posting. Meow meow meow, it's indeed the same time as yesterday. It's highly likely it appears once a day. Today's topic is. The only princess. Today's topic is Grandmaster's theory. What a coincidence, we were just arguing about this yesterday. Does this mean we'll find out today whether Grandmaster's talent is real or fake? Calm and composed. What, real or fake? I'd like to see who dares to doubt Xiaoging's theory. You are all a bunch of low-level spirit masters who can't even understand theory. If you're going to doubt someone, why doubt Xiaoging? Are you even worthy? Du Guyan, what a fool. Calm and composed. Are you this Yu Xiaoging's dog? Can't others even speak? My grandfather is no low-level spirit master, and this Yu Xiaoging is just grandstanding. Du Guyan, if you don't believe it, it just so happens that today's topic is a sharp critique of Yu Xiaoging. Watch the light screen yourself and see how it evaluates him. Calm and composed. Shut up. What are you? If you have the guts, reveal your true identity. See how I teach you a lesson. Du Guyan, I understand why your name is calm and composed. You're clearly going through menopause. Old lady, is it only people in your age group who like Yu Xiaoging? Du Guyan, is this a side effect of menopause? I am an orphan enough. Wasting time arguing here, why bother? Better to wait and see how the light screen critiques him. At the very least, this light screen doesn't seem to need to light us. Most loyal believer of the sea god, I don't care who Yu Xiaobing is. I only care if the light screen can reveal more about the future. Spirit Hall. Pope's Palace. It was another night. This time, Bibi Dong was wearing a black camisole, her fair skin looking incredibly smooth and tender, but her expression was very solemn. Watching the new topic on the light screen made Bibi Dong slightly worried. This light screen is truly bold. Yesterday it harshly criticized my love, and today it's criticizing Xiaoging. Could it be targeting me? However, this light screen doesn't seem fake. Could it be that Xiaoging really has a problem? But those theories of his are indeed the result of his hard work. Forget it, I can only watch for now. Is my love for Xiaoging truly real or fake? Because of the light screen's commentary yesterday, Bibi Dong was already feeling some doubt. Especially that phrase, the illusion set up by Jian Zunji, which made Bibi Dong think about it constantly. If the light screen had only spoken ill of Yu Xiaoging and insulted her, she probably wouldn't have cared. But the light screen touched upon the essence of her love, directly threatening the foundation of Bibi Dong's love for Yu Xiaoging. Once this was confirmed, Bibi Dong would no longer trust the relationship itself. Now, the only thing she could do was to continue watching the light screen's prompts, attempting to unearth the correct judgment with more information. Therefore, when calm and composed was arguing with others, she didn't intervene this time, she could only wait. Coincidentally, at this moment, the content of the sharp critique on the light screen began to appear. Although it emerged character by character, quite slowly, it was seen with absolute clarity. Please provide a sharp critique of Yu Xiaoging's theory. Answer. Wow, finally a topic I can write a bit more about. If you really want to find loopholes in Yu Xiaoging's theories, they are simply countless. Fortunately, I am not writing with pen and ink, otherwise, if I wanted to explain Yu Xiaoging's theories clearly, even using all the ink from the Lake of Life wouldn't be enough. After all, anyone can see various problems with Yu Xiaoging's theories. Especially that phrase of his, there are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters. This famous quote, which Yu Xiaoging uses to prove himself, almost inherently contains a contradiction. I sometimes wonder, which butt did this kid use to think of this sentence? The one on his neck, or the one below his waist? He wanted to imitate those saints and sages by spouting golden sentences to leave for posterity, so he cobbled this sentence together. But before publishing it, didn't he read it a few more times? Such a huge logical contradiction, has he really not discovered it after all these years? In the hidden spirit village. Songyi didn't know that every word he wrote was being watched by many people, he was just focused on outputting, starting his critique from Yu Xiaoging's most famous quote. However, just this opening sentence was enough to make everyone connected to the light screen astonished. Many people were chanting it, and by the way, they were conquered by the profound skill of cursing displayed on the light screen. How many toxic people did one have to consume to accumulate such cursing skills? Du Guyan, good fellow, I didn't hear anything wrong with Yu Xiaoging's sentence, it's just a bit unrealistic. But this light screen's level of cursing is not simple. Bing Bing is polite who understands that I was watching the light screen under my quilt and almost laughed myself crazy. Especially that sentence, which butt did Yu Xiaoging use to think of this sentence? Ha ha ha. Calm and composed presumptuous. What is this light screen saying? Stop it at once. Is Xiaoging someone you can evaluate? Calm and composed, damn it, why is the light screen's attack useless? Who on earth made this, just to insult Xiaoging? Most loyal believer of the sea god, that person named Calm and Composed, why are you going crazy here? Is there a problem with what the light screen said? There are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters, this kind of talk only fools people like you. Most loyal believer of the sea god, I have lived in this world for so many years, and I have never seen anyone who could cultivate a useless spirit. If this Yu Xiaoging uses this sentence as chicken soup, then his level is indeed not very good. Calm and composed fart. You low-level spirit master, what do you know about theory? Who said useless spirits can't be developed? It's just that you have little experience. Most loyal believer of the sea god, alright then, give me an example. Calm and composed, I can't be bothered to reason with you, you aren't worthy of listening. If you have little experience, go find it yourself, do you need me to teach you? The only princess arguing about this is useless. I am curious whether Grandmaster actually has any ability. We have indeed heard this sentence of his for a long time. Meow meow meow, right, in fact, there's an example of a useless spirit right by my side. And he is indeed educated by Grandmaster quite well, with extraordinary strength. Is it possible that the light screen is wrong? Meow meow meow, the spirit master by my side even has a blue silver grass spirit, a standard useless spirit, and Grandmaster still educated him to his current level of over 30. And he is far superior to those of the same level. I feel that perhaps the light screen is talking nonsense. No eating bunnies, that's right. Even a useless spirit like blue silver grass can be cultivated, this point cannot be denied. Grandmaster does indeed have ability. These three were still in the Shrek dormitory, paying attention to the critique content. If they were proven wrong about Yu Xiaoging's theory from other places, they would have believed it. However, with Tang San as an example right beside them, growing from a useless spirit blue silver grass to the present, they had to be convinced. Tang San's spirit must be a useless spirit, right? Doesn't his growth prove that Grandmaster's statement has no flaws? Then the light screen saying this statement has an inherent contradiction, isn't it nonsense, and is it deliberately smearing Grandmaster? Chapter 8. Yu Xiaoging confirmed as trash. A logical loop. Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuqing, and Ning Rongrong were currently in a rather awkward situation. The three were still watching the light screen and discussing, unsure of what the light screen meant. I thought this light screen might have a point yesterday, but this sentence is definitely wrong. Xiao Wu frowned. Regardless, Little San is the best proof. There is no trash spirit, only trash spirit master. Didn't Little San prove it? The light screen says Grandmaster is making things up, isn't that slander? Zhu Zuqing nodded. I also think there's no problem. Even blue silver grass can evolve to such a level, of course, it's not simple. Only Ning Rongrong remained skeptical, guessing, however, is third brother's blue silver grass really just ordinary blue silver grass? I just feel the light screen wouldn't lie, we need to keep watching. If blue silver grass isn't a trash spirit, then what is it? Xiao Wu pouted, not trusting what Ning Rongrong said, and muttered, forget it, let's keep watching. I really don't understand what logical problem there is with Grandmaster's statement. Pope's Palace. Bibi Dong, because she finally started to have some doubts about Yu Xiaoging, frowned upon seeing this sentence. There is no trash spirit, only trash spirit master. Looking at this statement from common sense, it is indeed incorrect, but this kind of aura and unwillingness to yield is not something an ordinary person can have. Back then, it was precisely listening to this statement from Xiaoging that made me admire him. This attitude of fighting against fate is what matters. And wasn't there someone who said he cultivated a blue silver grass trash spirit too? Doesn't that mean Xiaogang really has the ability, rather than the light screen slandering him like this? Bibi Dong comforted herself, still feeling there was nothing wrong. No matter how much you insult Yu Xiaogang, the talent Xiaogang possesses cannot be erased. Being able to cultivate a blue silver grass spirit master, if this doesn't make him a theoretical grandmaster, then what does? However, just as she had regained some confidence in Yu Xiaogang, suddenly, the sharp commentary in the light screen continued. In the light screen. Why do I say there's a logical problem with Yu Xiaogang's statement? The key lies in the person himself. There is no trash spirit, only trash spirit master. According to the logic of this statement, if a person fails to succeed, then it must be a problem with the spirit of the spirit master. And Yu Xiaogang prides himself on being a theoretical grandmaster, leading other spirit masters. Therefore, he believes he is not a trash spirit master. But the spirit he awakened, Luo Sanpao, happens to be a recognized, and even by his own admission, trash spirit. Thus, a contradiction arises. Yu Xiaogang has cultivated for so long and only has 29 levels of spirit power, unable to succeed. According to his own statement, is his spirit trash, or is he himself trash? If his spirit is trash, it means his theory is wrong. Proving that Yu Xiaogang is also trash and his theory is made up. If he thinks his spirit is fine, then his inability to grow means he is trash. A theoretical grandmaster who cultivated himself into this state, if that's not trash, what is? In summary, as long as Yu Xiaogang is alive in the world, his famous quote will naturally create a logical error. I suggest to Yu Xiaogang, if you really want to promote your theory, then commit suicide. If you commit suicide, you can cause fewer obstacles for your theory. Once this sharp commentary came out, everyone watching was stunned on the spot. What? So, no matter how you prove this statement, it only proves that Yu Xiaogang is trash. Each of the characters possessing the light screen gasped. Du Guyan, good, well said. I already said this Yu Xiaogang must be a liar, now the logic is clear. Either his spirit is trash and he is trash by association, or he himself is trash. Bing Bing is polite, that's right, the light screen is correct. No matter how you analyze it, it only proves Yu Xiaogang is trash. What qualification does he have to be called a theoretical grandmaster? Calm and composed, no, that's not right, you light screen are spouting nonsense. How could Xiaogang's theory have problems? He is not trash, he has talent. He clearly didn't have enough talent, yet he still diligently studied theory. Do you all have this attitude? I am an orphan, fine, starting to talk about attitude now. Can't win with logic, so you talk about attitude. No wonder someone with your brain would like a recognized trash like Yu Xiaogang. Bibi Dong, enough, how did Yu Xiaogang offend you all to deserve this? Even if this statement has a problem, it doesn't completely prove Xiaogang is trash. Maybe he just didn't think the quote through. I am an orphan, Bibi Dong, I think you are also trash. This statement is representative of Yu Xiaogang. Even his core ideology has problems, and you are still defending him. Most loyal believer of the sea god, logically speaking, the light screen is correct. Yu Xiaogang is indeed a person who fishes for fame. No eating bunnies, how could this happen? Could Grandmaster really have problems? His theory really only proves he is trash. However, the blue silver grass part is also true. Meow meow meow, that's right, what is going on? The blue silver grass was indeed cultivated. Could it be that Grandmaster's theory is fine, but Grandmaster himself is trash? The only princess, if one must interpret it, that is the only explanation. The theory is fine, but Grandmaster is incompetent. Sigh, let's keep watching, it's not finished yet. The sharp commentary in the light screen almost blew everyone out. In Shrek Academy, Xiao Wu and the other two were at a loss. The logic the light screen spoke of was just standard reasoning. Now that it was proven Yu Xiaogang was trash, they felt somewhat helpless. Would they still listen to Yu Xiaogang in the future? Would they still accept Yu Xiaogang's education? Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuqing, and Ning Rongrong looked at each other, not knowing how to respond. Pope's palace. Bibi Dong had a serious expression. She didn't stay on the bed but nervously stood up and began to pace back and forth in the palace, trying to find a logical loophole in the light screen. If Xiaogang's spirit is trash, it violates Xiaogang's theory, meaning Xiaogang's theory is wrong. If Xiaogang's spirit is not trash, then it means Xiaogang is trash, that is what his theory states. Damn it, how could this be? The light screen seems to be right. No matter how you calculate it, it ends with Xiaogang being trash. This shouldn't be. Xiaogang clearly has such strong talent. Why would there be a logical loophole? This statement is his core philosophy. The more Bibi Dong thought, the more anxious she became. The more she thought, the more problems she found. She was very panicked, yet she couldn't find a point to refute. Finally, after her brain worked at high speed, there was still no problem. Bibi Dong was a little scared. She looked at the light screen in front of her in horror and muttered. Could it be that Xiaogang is really a liar, and he doesn't have that talent at all? Chapter 9, Tang-san is delayed. Turn Tang-san against him. Inside Lamba Academy. Lu Erlong was doing something similar to Bibi Dong. She paced back and forth, desperate to find a way to crack this. As long as she could overturn the logic of the critique on the light screen, she could prove that Yu Xiaogang's theories were correct and maintain Yu Xiaogang's position as Grandmaster. But unfortunately, no matter how hard Lu Erlong's big-brained head tried, she simply couldn't think of any counter-arguments. In the end, she could only vent, smashing things one by one. Damn it. This light screen is clearly targeting Xiaogang. Xiaogang must have just misspoken. Xiaogang is still a theoretical grandmaster. He might have just designed the famous quote wrong, but that doesn't mean he has any problems. Didn't 3 people in that comment section say that Xiaogang raised a blue silver grass spirit master? If he can even raise such a trash spirit, then Xiaogang's theory must be correct. Right, I want to see this light screen try to explain the feat of raising blue silver grass. If it can't explain it, that proves it's slandering Xiaogang. Although Lu Erlong also had doubts in her heart, she overall continued to believe in Yu Xiaogang and wanted to defend him. And the blue silver grass spirit master that Xiao Wu and the others mentioned was the best opportunity for Yu Xiaogang to prove himself. Everyone watched the light screen, curious about how this matter would be explained. Coincidentally, the sharp critique regarding blue silver grass had already appeared. Inside the light screen. Of course, some people will retort, saying that Yu Xiaogang raised a genius like Tang-san, right? Tang-san himself only had a blue silver grass spirit. He was raised by Yu Xiaogang in the early stages, and didn't he still perform excellently? Regarding this point, I can only say, those who like to lick shit can go to the toilet, don't come here to lick Yu Xiaogang. Don't you people have a clue about Tang-san's blue silver grass? Is that an ordinary blue silver grass? That is the blue silver emperor, a true top-tier plant spirit. Did the blue silver emperor bloodline his mother left him have no use at all? Why does everyone else's blue silver grass break when pulled, but his has potential? Because his mother was a 100,000-year spirit beast blue silver emperor to begin with, and he is the successor to the blue silver emperor. It is not a trash spirit at all. Furthermore, let's assume Tang San's blue silver grass was still a trash spirit. Then why was Tang San's cultivation speed in the early stages no worse than others? Because he had innate full spirit power. Innate full spirit power that was brought about by his cultivation technique. Of course, even if Tang San didn't cultivate that technique, relying on his second spirit, the clear sky hammer, his innate spirit power wouldn't be bad either. Isn't that still relying on the advantage brought by the clear sky hammer spirit? Yu Xiaogang knew Tang San had twin spirits and possessed innate full spirit power, so how could he think that teaching Tang San proved his theory was correct? Tang San originally had a top-tier spirit and top-tier talent. Did he need your teaching? Did he need you to interfere? Besides educating Tang San in the early stages and teaching him some knowledge about spirit beasts that could be learned anywhere, after going to Shrek, he just made those geniuses run laps. Who doesn't know how to do that kind of training? Later, after Tang San participated in the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Elite Tournament, he immediately followed Tang Hao for training and awakened the Blue Silver Emperor spirit. What use was Yu Xiaogang to Tang San in the late stage? For such an idiot to still have the face to call himself Tang San's teacher is disgusting tilde. On Song Yi's side, scolding Yu Xiaogang felt truly satisfying, especially that critique of the blue silver grass, which was completely incisive. The blue silver emperor is awesome, but what does that have to do with you, Yu Xiaogang? And similarly, when this sharp critique appeared, it left the audience dumbfounded. So this person called Tang San has a blue silver emperor spirit, not a trash blue silver grass spirit at all. Bing Bing is polite blue silver emperor. This Tang San is not a trash spirit, which is why he grew up. In that case, Yu Xiaogang is indeed useless. Du Guyan, I told you, you didn't believe me. Now the light screen proves it, right? Du Guyan at no eating bunnies, don't you guys know that Tang San? Prove it, is Tang San's blue silver grass stronger and tougher than other blue silver grass, and does he have innate full spirit power? As soon as this comment was posted, it immediately attracted the attention of countless people. Comment composed, this light screen is slandering. What blue silver emperor? I've never even heard of it. Those people, hurry up and come out to prove it. Xiaogang taught blue silver grass, not blue silver emperor. And there is no clear sky hammer or innate full spirit power, right? Most loyal believer of the sea god blue silver emperor, naturally such a spirit beast exists. This is an extremely rare 100,000-year spirit beast, a leader among plant-type spirit beasts possessing superb vitality. BB Dong, although I really don't want to admit it, the blue silver emperor does indeed exist. When sending this comment, BB Dong in the Pope's palace lost all her strength. I am an orphan at the only princess asking you guys. Is that person called Tang San really innate full spirit power and twin spirits? Is his blue silver grass stronger than ordinary blue silver grass? Everyone was waiting. As long as these three people who seemed to know Yu Xiaogang and Tang San responded, they would know the answer. ... Shrek Academy. Xiao Wu and the other two were a bit scared and at a loss, looking at each other. Their lips were slightly parted, wanting to speak but unable to say a word. In the light screen's comment section, people were still asking them, needing them to prove the truth. But in reality, they all knew the light screen wasn't wrong, and they didn't dare to reply. Finally, after a long silence, N.A.N sighed. So, third brother doesn't have a trash spirit, he just hadn't awakened the blue silver emperor yet. Xiao Wu, as things stand, I'm afraid Grandmaster's theories are all wrong. He knew about third brother's twin spirits, perhaps it was just good luck. Xiao Wu still didn't speak, but kept her head lowered in silence, feeling pain in her heart. Unlike N.A.N and Zuqing, she had been apprenticed to Yu Xiaogang by Tang San since she was 6. Yu Xiaogang could be considered her master. Now, it was suddenly discovered that Yu Xiaogang was faking things and stealing fame. How should Xiao Wu conduct herself, and how should she face Grandmaster? And, should she keep Tang San by Yu Xiaogang's side and let him be delayed by Yu Xiaogang? At this moment, Zuqing noticed the clue and patted Xiao Wu's shoulder, saying, Xiao Wu, what the light screen said is all correct. Actually, if we think about it carefully, we can see that it's impossible for ordinary blue silver grass to be cultivated to such a degree. Even if spirit rings are added, the toughness and quality of the spirit itself cannot be changed. Xiao Wu nodded, only exhaling, but remained silent. At this moment, N.A.N took the initiative to ask, Xiao Wu, we can all see that Grandmaster's theories are wrong. If we continue to cultivate following him, I'm afraid we might be delayed as well. We should think about an exit strategy. However, third brother is formally apprenticed to Grandmaster. If we ask him to leave, he definitely won't be willing. If we let him stay, it will delay him. Xiao Wu, what do you think? Chapter 10, Yu Xiaogang's reputation ruined. All theories proven flawed. Xiao Wu's eyes were filled with nothing but confusion. How could she think, and what could she possibly think of? After a long while, she finally uttered, let's just wait and see. Little San trusts Grandmaster too much. N.A.N and Zuqing continued to nod, having nothing to say. Pope's palace. BB Dong lay on the bed, her straps revealing a large amount. Seeing the current scathing review, she was thoroughly dejected, her heart feeling as if it were being cut by a knife. Could it be that Yu Xiaogang's talent is truly fake? Xiaogang, why would you do this? Even to prove yourself, you had to teach a genius with twin spirits. Didn't you say there's no such thing as a useless spirit? But you chose to teach a genius instead of a truly useless spirit. Does this even count as proof? Could it be that my love for Xiaogang really stemmed from an illusion? Otherwise, how could I only know about these problems of Xiaogang now? BB Dong was completely suspicious, completely terrified. The light screen had reached this point, and there were no more doubts. These facts alone proved Yu Xiaogang's fraudulent nature. Now, BB Dong even suspected whether Xiaogang's love for her was a fraud, something done for some kind of benefit. If that were really the case, did she still need to love Xiaogang? Perhaps not anymore. Lanba Academy. Lu Erlong had already been provoked to the point of spitting out a mouthful of blood. No, how could it be like this? Xiaogang, why don't you prove yourself? Xiaogang, how could your theories be wrong? Back then, when you conquered me with your talent, it wasn't like this. Why, quote. PFF. Saying this, Lu Erlong spat out another mouthful of blood. She looked at the comment section. The three people who knew the so-called Tang San still hadn't come out to speak, and she had already guessed the outcome. I'm afraid what the light screen said was true, and I'm afraid those three people didn't know how to refute it either. Lu Erlong was now completely conflicted, feeling both pity and love for Xiaogang, as well as doubt and confusion. The light screen said Xiaogang's theories were wrong, that he had no talent at all, and that he was merely deceiving the world for fame. Lu Erlong wondered, if Xiaogang is really a liar, would I still like him? Is such a person still worth my affection? She clutched her chest, falling into a situation similar to BB Dong's. And in reality, while their hearts were affected, it could not influence the scathing content on the light screen. At this moment, the output in the light screen continued. After all, Xiaoging's theories were full of holes. In the light screen. I can only say that although Tang-san has problems with his brain, he is also quite unlucky to follow this piece of trash, Yu Xiaoging. Even his worldview was twisted in the late stage. He could actually shout the slogan, not daring to cause trouble is mediocrity, which is simply ridiculous. Back to the main topic, Yu Xiaoging's theories have no manifestation in reality. His 10 core competencies of spirits is even more of a patchwork, moving other people's theories over, changing them randomly, and making them his own theories. For example, the points in his theory such as, innate spirit power is directly proportional to spirit quality, the amplification effect of the spirit avatar is directly proportional to the quality of the spirit itself, spirit ring bottleneck cannot prevent the improvement of a spirit master's spirit power. Closing square bracket. Aren't these things that every high-level spirit master knows? I ask, which title Duluo doesn't know this? Even some spirit Duluo and spirit saint know these basics. As a result, I didn't expect them to be put into his own theory by Yu Xiaoging, published by him, as if they were content he had researched. Furthermore, what about the spirit mimicry theory, that plant-type spirit masters can absorb spirit beasts? This is the focus of his teaching Tang-san. But I want to ask, among all the spirit masters in the entire Duluo continent, isn't there a single plant spirit that has absorbed a spirit beast? This kind of thing can be concluded without research, right? Then I might as well say that Oscar can absorb beast spirits, and my theory is, food system spirit masters can absorb spirit beasts. Wouldn't I then become a new theory grandmaster? In addition, because plant-type spirit masters can absorb beast spirit rings, Yu Xiaoging let Tang-san absorb the Datura snake and man-faced demon spider. Heavens, since plant-type spirit masters can absorb plant spirit beasts and beast spirit beasts, why go the long way around? Why not directly absorb plant spirit beasts with higher compatibility? Wouldn't the fusion be higher and the spirit ability effect be stronger? According to his theory, cultivating blue-silver grass to obtain poison, don't plant spirit beasts have poison. Not to mention, this piece of trash Yu Xiaoging training Tang-san is completely ruining him. The characteristic of blue-silver grass, or rather the blue-silver emperor, is its formidable vitality. Like the spirit ring obtained by Tang-san's awakening in the late stage, or the skills brought by the blue-silver emperor spirit bone, they are all related to vitality. Yu Xiaoging, let a blue-silver grass absorb a poisonous spirit ring, suppressing its vitality characteristics, and in the end, it turned out neither fish nor fowl. So in the late stage, when Tang-san participated in the competition and fought against top-tier beast spirits like Shui Binger, his Dao heart collapsed because poison is useless against powerful spirit masters. Yu Xiaoging doesn't even understand how to cultivate twin spirits at all. He still has to rely on finding Dong to find a way to avoid the second spirit exploding from absorbing a spirit ring. Recalling Tang-san's journey, if it weren't for the fact that Tang-san's blue-silver emperor is stronger than ordinary blue-silver grass, and if it weren't for Tang-san's own cultivation technique to cultivate spirit power. If it weren't for Tang-san having hidden weapons to make up for the weakness of his spirit ability, and if it weren't for his good luck in obtaining the 8 spider lance's external spirit bone. If it weren't for Tang-san having the clear sky hammer to make up for the disadvantage of the blue-silver grass during the competition. Then how could Tang-san have developed, and what talk of becoming an excellent spirit master? It all relied on external forces. Which of the spirit abilities Yu Xiaoging gave him was actually useful? And coincidentally, these external forces have nothing to do with Yu Xiaoging. So, is Yu Xiaoging just a mascot? Finishing the scathing review, Song Yi had output so much in one breath that he paused for a moment to catch his breath. Indeed, the word count of this wave of scathing reviews was too high, but there was no help for it. The points to mock Yu Xiaoging were simply endless. And those who were watching, after reading this series of scathing reviews, all deeply felt that Yu Xiaoging was a piece of trash. I am an orphan looking at it this way. This Yu Xiaoging is indeed trash to the extreme. I really don't know how some people took a fancy to such a man. Dong, who I take a fancy to, what does it have to do with you? Who are you to be using yin and yang sarcasm towards this supreme pontiff? I am an orphan. No, I am not using yin and yang sarcasm, I am being direct. Dong, you are just a blind person. You can even stomach trash like Yu Xiaoging, you must be really hungry. Dong, if you have the guts, leave your name, the supreme pontiff will definitely not spare you. I am an orphan. You should think carefully about how you will deal with this trash, Yu Xiaoging, yourself. The light screen has proven that his theories are all plagiarized or wrong. Do you still like him? Chapter 11, Xiaowu rebels against Yu Xiaoging, must save Tang-san. Bing is polite, the light screen is right. Much of Yu Xiaoging's theory is content already known to high-level spirit masters, yet he still publishes it. This just goes to show how much of a waste Yu Xiaoging is. Yan and this guy even wanted to use Tang-san to prove himself, but he didn't expect that he almost ruined Tang-san. Hilarious. Yan at No Eating Bunnies, come share your thoughts. You should know that Tang-san, right, your friend has been ruined by Yu Xiaoging, what do you think? No Eating Bunnies, could it be that Grandmaster really has a problem? Little San respects him so much, yet he doesn't understand at all and is delaying Little San's future. The only princess, it seems we cannot let this Yu Xiaoging continue to harm people. But we must still plan carefully and prepare an escape route. Meow meow meow, what a pity, sigh. Most loyal believer of the sea got such a stupid waste, yet there are still people who like him, even the supreme pontiff of Spirit Hall. I am starting to believe the talk about that illusion more and more. Inside the Pope's palace. Dong is completely bewildered, even falling onto her bed in despair, watching the various scathing reviews of Yu Xiaoging on the light screen. Almost this entire light screen has completely refuted all of Yu Xiaoging's theories. Tears unknowingly stream from the corners of Dong's eyes. She doesn't know what to do, and finally, from this moment on, she feels a trace of disgust toward Yu Xiaoging. Xiaoging, why? Why did you deceive me like this? Why did you have to put on a facade? Those things weren't yours, yet you still hung them on yourself. Could it be that I was truly wrong? Dong closes her eyes tightly, her heart aching intensely. It is the pain of being deceived by a lover and realizing her own stupidity. Back then, she loved Yu Xiaoging because she saw him defy the heavens and change his fate, and because she saw him struggle and work hard relying on his talent. But now that it has been proven that all of Yu Xiaoging's talent was an illusion, the virtues she loved in him simply do not exist. If it weren't for the fact that she had loved him once, Dong would have wanted to take revenge on Yu Xiaoging right then and there. Perhaps, I was just too stupid. Or perhaps, the so-called illusion in the light screen are right. Xiaoging, what should I say? Dong can only sigh deeply, swallowing repeatedly, and finally closes the light screen. She doesn't want to see any more for now. Now, she can only slowly accept reality and let herself detach from Yu Xiaoging bit by bit. Even if she doesn't love this person in the future, based on their past relationship, Dong still doesn't want to hold a grudge against him. In Land Academy. Erlong is in the same state, collapsed on the ground with a large amount of blood she vomited beside her. At this moment, Erlong has lost all strength and has no interest in arguing with others in the comment section. Understanding all of Yu Xiaoging's theories, she finally realizes that the Yu Xiaoging she loves simply doesn't exist. Who knows, did she love the excellent Yu Xiaoging, or just Yu Xiaoging in any state? Now, Erlong just wants to accept reality and stop caring about anything else. Throughout the light screen, the output against Yu Xiaoging continues. But these two key people barely watch anymore, while the others watch and post comments to complain. Finally, after writing another 1,000+ words of scathing review, the content of the review ends. Below the main text of the light screen, the final 4 words appear. Review complete. The others look at these 4 words and can finally let loose, flooding the comment section with hundreds of posts, all joining in to mock Yu Xiaoging. Du Guyan, Shui Binger, Huliana, Jian Runshui, and Peerless Du Luobo Saishi, 5 women, continue incessantly without stopping. Some of them even start chatting with each other while complaining about Yu Xiaoging, having a somewhat online dating vibe. No one knows that Bibi Dong and Erlong have almost had their Dao hearts shattered and have completely given up hope. I fear that as time goes by, these 2 women might even turn their love for Yu Xiaoging into hatred. Spirit City, a house in Spirit Village. Song Yi stretches, ending this long session of complaining. Seeing the dense, thousands of words he typed on the light screen, Song Yi is very satisfied. I've reviewed so much, and it was ruthless enough, right? Both quantity and quality are not bad, so the reward shouldn't be bad either. While pondering, the light screen in front of him finishes summarizing and responds. Detected that the effect of this review is excellent. Distributing reward, first spirit ring upgraded to 1000-year level and adapted to the spirit. In the next second, a purple spirit ring condenses in the light screen, with the pattern of the tree of life carved on it. Song Yi says in surprise, my first spirit ring upgraded to 1000-year level. I only mentioned it yesterday, and it actually appeared. This isn't even a first-time reward, yet it has such benefits. And it's adapted to my spirit, which means it can directly change the effect of my spirit ability, making it better match my spirit's characteristics and demonstrate my strength. Instantly, Song Yi hurriedly triggers the system to absorb the reward. In the blink of an eye, energy enters his body, and Song Yi's first spirit ring suddenly turns into a 1000-year one. He summons it, and sure enough, it is purple, and the spirit ability has changed. Song Yi mutters, now, my first spirit ability has become Light of Life. The effect of the Light of Life skill is to increase my vitality, physical strength, recovery, and spirit power by 100%. Furthermore, condensing the Light of Life can be used for attacks. By suppressing others' vitality through the Light of Life, I can reduce the opponent's vitality. Although this spirit ability is mainly for my own support and the attack power isn't too exaggerated, being able to fight and buff is already formidable. There will be opportunities in the future to continue enhancing the spirit ability through reviews. Thinking of the bright future, Song Yi cannot hide his excitement. He quickly leaves the house and finds an empty place to experiment. The Light of Life shines on his body, and sure enough, his vitality doubles. What vitality brings is a comprehensive enhancement of the whole body, whether it is strength or speed, even endurance is much stronger. And there is the enhancement of physique and recovery, which can give Song Yi extremely strong endurance. Now, Song Yi could fight Captain America for a whole day. Not to mention the doubling of spirit power, which is useful for all kinds of actions of a spirit master, it is almost perfect. Song Yi looks at the green light floating on his body, takes a deep breath, enjoys it for a moment, and continues to experiment. Whether running or attacking, it shows impressive effects. Finally, he withdraws the Light of Life with more satisfaction and returns to the house. Now, just waiting for tomorrow's review task. It's a pity, if only others could see my review content. Especially Bibi Dong and Yu Xiaoging, they would definitely break down after reading it. After speaking, Song Yi continues to cultivate. Although his innate spirit power is still very poor, the effort of cultivation cannot be ignored. Shrek Academy. Xiao Wu and the others analyze for a long time and finally make a decision. Yes, we must stay away from Yu Xiaoging, especially Little San. We cannot let him be dragged down by Yu Xiaoging anymore. Xiao Wu resolves. Chapter 12. Tang San breaks defense, driving Xiao Wu away. If Xiao Wu and the other 2 girls were unaware, there would be nothing they could do, but having realized Yu Xiaoging's deception and stupidity, how could they possibly continue to stay at Shrek? However, because they had nowhere to go for the time being and hadn't found a new place to stay, the 3 of them had to plan for the long term. Xiao Wu was the first to set a goal. Before we truly leave, we still need to find someone. I absolutely cannot let Little San be held back by this Yu Xiaoging any longer. Ning Rongrong nodded. She was the smartest of them and took the initiative to explain. Let's do this. There's no need to rush. We'll test the waters first. I'll talk to Little Ao, Zuqing will talk to Boss Dai, and Xiao Wu, you'll be responsible for third brother. We'll just reveal a bit about Grandmaster's problems and see how they react. If we're too hasty, I'm afraid it will backfire. Zuqing and Xiao Wu nodded, and the 3 of them began to discuss how they would talk to the others tomorrow during the day. Time slowly ticked by. The next day, the 3 of them acted separately. Xiao Wu found Tang San and began to indirectly bring up some of Yu Xiaoging's problems. Little San, if you can absorb both plant spirit rings and beast spirit rings, then why go the long way around? Little San, don't you feel that the blue silver grass's vitality is its strongest feature, and that its poison is a bit mediocre? Little San, tell me, if someone stole someone else's property, claimed it as their own in the end, and even used it to build a legacy, wouldn't that be disgusting and shameful? Xiao Wu remained cautious and didn't directly speak ill of Yu Xiaoging. She didn't even mention anyone's name when talking about plagiarism. But unexpectedly, perhaps it was the mention of stealing and theft that made Tang San subconsciously think of his past life. Upon hearing this, Tang San's expression instantly turned gloomy. Xiao Wu, what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Stealing and theft. Who says it must be stealing and theft? What if someone was just forced by circumstances and wanted to carry forward a certain technique? Xiao Wu was stunned upon hearing this. How could she know that in his past life, Tang San had also stolen the Tang Sect's hidden weapons techniques, which was why he got emotional when hearing about such things. She thought that Tang San had guessed she was talking about Yu Xiaoging. But this made Xiao Wu even more confused. Since you guessed I was talking about Yu Xiaoging, why are you still speaking up for him? Xiao Wu was also somewhat angry. Little San, why are you so aggressive? Did I say who it was? I'm talking about this kind of behavior. If someone really stole another person's achievements, wouldn't they be a liar and a villain? Why are you still speaking up for him? Whoever it is, shouldn't they be despised for doing such things? And, carrying it forward, using other people's things to show off in front of others, this is simply being a beast. In order to persuade Tang San more effectively, Xiao Wu had no choice but to curse Yu Xiaoging like this, hoping to awaken Tang San's conscience so he would realize how disgusting Yu Xiaoging was. But she really didn't expect that Tang San was the one who had done these very things. Hearing Xiao Wu continue to curse, Tang San felt increasingly uncomfortable. Wasn't this clearly cursing him? Tang San even began to suspect, could Xiao Wu be talking about me? Could she be suspicious that I, at such a young age, can make so many hidden weapons and that it was stolen? Thinking of this, Tang-san let out a muffled grunt. Xiao Wu, enough. Who exactly are you talking about? You might as well speak clearly. There's no need to beat around the bush and make veiled accusations. Who I'm talking about, what I'm saying, don't you have any idea? Xiao Wu retorted. In her view, Tang-san's defense meant he had guessed she was talking about Yu Xiaogang. If she were talking about an unrelated person, why would Tang-san try to whitewash the act of stealing? However, it was precisely the sentence that made Tang-san even more terrified. Have any idea? Tang-san swallowed his saliva, his heart racing as he looked at Xiao Wu. She said, I have an idea. Could it be that Xiao Wu used some method to discover that my hidden weapons techniques were stolen? That's right, in anyone's eyes, for me to master so many mysterious cultivation techniques and hidden weapons methods at such a young age, it's impossible for me to have come up with them myself. It makes sense for her to suspect that I stole the techniques. Damn it. His hidden weapons techniques and the secret of his theft in his past life were Tang-san's most untouchable reverse scale. No one could touch it, no one could say it out loud. He was the pure and flawless Tang-san, a hidden weapons genius, not some thief. Even if he had stolen in his past life, it was only to make the Tang sect stronger, for the legacy of the hidden weapons. Can the business of a hidden weapons practitioner be called stealing? This kind of thing, even if it were his own father or the person he liked, could not be spoken of, could not be tainted. Tang-san was suddenly furious. Shut up. Xiao Wu, I don't want to hear anymore. Shut your mouth right now. From today on, no one is allowed to bring up this topic again. If you still consider me your brother, then don't mention it again. What? Xiao Wu was also stunned. How could she have imagined that just by mocking Yu Xiaogang a few times, she would provoke such great rage from Tang-san? Wasn't she Tang-san's sister? Didn't he say that even if everyone wanted to kill her, they would have to step over his corpse? Could it be that in front of a piece of trash like Yu Xiaogang, I, Xiao Wu, am not even comparable to him? Do you value Yu Xiaogang more? Xiao Wu suddenly felt a sharp pain in her heart. She clutched her chest and asked Tang-san, feeling quite distressed. Little San, do you know what you were saying? I am your sister, I am doing this to help you. I said, Xiao Wu. Tang-san felt very pained seeing Xiao Wu like this. But since it involved the secret of his past life, he had to suppress it, so he replied coldly, this matter, no one is allowed to mention it again. Since you have your suspicions, then let those suspicions be buried. Xiao Wu, I can only tell you that my conscience is clear. You. Little San. Seeing Tang-san so resolute, not even caring about their sibling relationship, Xiao Wu burst into tears. Fine, then I won't care anymore. You are deluding yourself. Following that kind of person will sooner or later get you killed. After saying this, Xiao Wu flicked her hand and left, choking back sobs. She only wanted to help Tang-san, only wanted to help her brother, but why, because of a fame stealing and reputation usurping Yu Xiaogang, did the two of them have to have such a rift? Could it be that Little San also approves of that kind of person like Yu Xiaogang, and the kind of things Yu Xiaogang does? Could it be that this master and disciple were originally birds of a feather, sharing the same foul stench? Xiao Wu kept clutching her chest, enduring immense pain in her heart. On the other side, Tang-san was also heartbroken. His expression was incredibly painful. Why did it turn out like this? How did Xiao Wu suddenly guess the origin of my hidden weapons? Xiao Wu, I'm sorry. Brother doesn't want to make you sad, but you shouldn't have touched upon this matter. Xiao Wu, rest assured, as long as you don't talk about stealing hidden weapons in the future, you will still be my best sister. I'm sorry, Xiao Wu. Tang-san had no choice, even if he liked Xiao Wu, this matter involved his fundamental foundation. He certainly had to care about himself first, and only then about others. Chapter 13, A Sharp Critique of N.A.N.'s Intelligence. Spirit Hall. Bibi Dong had watched the sharp critique on the light screen for so long last night that she originally intended to send people to find the Tang-san to resolve the hidden danger to Spirit Hall. However, yesterday's sharp critique of Yu Xiaogang had stimulated Bibi Dong's body and mind, causing her immense pain, and she had not yet recovered. The matter of finding Tang-san could only be temporarily shelved. After thinking for a day and a night, Bibi Dong finally accepted reality. She sat in the Pope's palace, utterly dejected, looking at the scenery outside the window, her eyes filled only with confusion and determination. Perhaps, Xiaogang really isn't a good fit. Everything about him is a deception, so what am I still struggling over? And even in reality, there's no hope left for him and me, perhaps this is fate. Xiaogang, I hope that the next time we meet, you won't be standing on the opposite side of me. The few remaining ties between us are already hard to maintain. Even if she liked Yu Xiaogang all over again, even if she poured out sincere feelings again. However, having seen through Yu Xiaogang's truth and hypocrisy, and knowing that Yu Xiaogang was not the person she liked, she could no longer give herself completely. Even if she had loved him once, she might still have mercy for Yu Xiaogang and might still think of Yu Xiaogang. But loving Yu Xiaogang as she did before was something she could no longer do. From now on, the name Yu Xiaogang would only slowly drift away, disappearing from her emotions. Bibi Dong, thinking of this, decided to embark on a new life. As for the past love, she would just consider it fed to the dogs. I hope tonight's sharp critique won't involve me again, I just hope I can take a breather. And it would be best to see information about others, to peek into a richer future. The only thing I need to do in the future is to unify the continent and inherit the god position. While speaking, Bibi Dong adjusted her emotions. Currently in a terrible state, she decided to relax during the day and stop managing affairs. Until time passed bit by bit, and it was the third night again. Bibi Dong, just like the previous 2 days, waited for the light screen to turn on and for the new sharp critique theme to appear. She only hoped that no matter who or what was being critiqued, as long as it had nothing to do with her. Shrek Academy. Zhu Zuqing and Ning Rongrong kept comforting Xiao Wu. The two women also did not know that Tang-san was actually so deeply tied to Yu Xiaogang. Ning Rongrong sighed. It seems that third brother has been completely brainwashed by Yu Xiaogang. Xiao Wu, perhaps this isn't third brother's fault, it's just that Yu Xiaogang has too much influence over him. You two have followed him since you were 6, and third brother values relationships and righteousness, it's possible he was bewitched by him. Values relationships and righteousness. Hearing this comfort, Xiao Wu only felt insulted. He values relationships and righteousness with Yu Xiaogang, but doesn't he value them with me? Once, he told me that if anyone wanted to kill me, they would first have to step over his corpse. But now, I haven't even explicitly cursed Yu Xiaogang, and he treats me like this. We have relied on each other for survival, yet I'm not as important as the Yu Xiaogang who is harming him. Zhu Zuqing continued to sigh, adding comfort. Perhaps third brother just doesn't know that Yu Xiaogang is trying to harm him. Xiao Wu, let's stop worrying about this for now and discuss it later. It just so happens that the time is almost up, let's watch the sharp critique first. I wonder who today's sharp critique will be about. I hope it's related to us and can give us some guidance. Ning Rongrong nodded, also slightly hopeful. Xiao Wu continued to wipe her tears, painful and uncomfortable, unable to speak. She took a few deep breaths and could only try to calm down. It's okay, I'll just shift my attention. Let's watch the light screen. Just then, a moment later, the light screen indeed lit up again. Everyone opened the light screen together, and what came into view was the same as before, with the theme of this sharp critique appearing first. Only the three of them, including Ning Rongrong, were extremely surprised, because the theme that appeared this time was actually Ning Rongrong. Please provide a sharp critique of Ning Rongrong's brain. Seeing this title, all three had their attention attracted simultaneously. Zhu Zuqing stared at Ning Rongrong, and even Xiao Wu was affected, no longer thinking about Tang San but looking at Ning Rongrong instead. Ning Rongrong's eye twitched, feeling somewhat awkward. How could it be a sharp critique of me? And what does this title mean, a sharp critique of my intelligence? Is there something wrong with my intelligence? Fine, this light screen is insulting me. Zhu Zuqing and Xiao Wu were equally awkward, not knowing what to say. Zhu Zuqing persuaded, Rongrong, don't be anxious, this light screen can't be broken. Let's watch it first, perhaps being scolded a couple of times might have a guiding effect and help you avoid some dangers. HMPH, Ning Rongrong said proudly, anyway, there's nothing wrong with my intelligence. But she still followed suit and looked at the light screen. At this moment, the content of the sharp critique on the light screen had not yet started, it was likely that the author was still thinking about the points of the critique. The comments below, however, had already started appearing one after another. Bing Bing is polite, who is Ning Rongrong? It sounds like your status is not ordinary. Du Guyan, the surname Ning does remind me of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, but it might not be related. A sharp critique of intelligence, does that mean this Ning Rongrong is very stupid? Most loyal believer of the Sea God, when will it be a sharp critique of me, or something related to Sea God Island? Perhaps I can obtain some useful information. Charming Fox, great, finally no sharp critique of the Supreme Pontiff. This time I can speak. I am an orphan, is Ning Rongrong there? Are you the one connected to the light screen? If you are, you can come out. After all, because the main text hadn't started, many people didn't know Ning Rongrong, so they could only make some idle chatter. Ning Rongrong, however, looked at the comments with quite a bit of disdain. It's expected that this group of people doesn't know me, what is their status, and what is my status? They want me to reply, why should I listen to you? However, when will this main text actually start? I hope it won't be too harsh a scolding. After the previous 2 sharp critiques, everyone knew the style, it was about scolding people and digging up the dark secrets of the characters. Ning Rongrong had already started to think that she shouldn't have too many problems, and even if she were scolded, there wouldn't be many points to criticize. At most, she had been a bit unruly and spoiled before, such things shouldn't compare to those 2 idiots, Yu Xiaogang and Bibi Dong. Thinking of this, she felt relieved and looked at the light screen seriously. It just so happened that the main text of the sharp critique began, and the first sentence was the outline. A sharp critique of Ning Rongrong's intelligence. I can only say, intelligence is something Ning Rongrong has a little of, but not much. This sentence appeared, directly leaving Ning Rongrong stunned. What does it mean, starting off by saying my intelligence isn't enough? Could it be that I did something very stupid? She watched even more intently. In the light screen, the specific evaluations also gradually emerged. In the light screen. Let's start by sorting through the things Ning Rongrong has done. The first stupid thing Ning Rongrong did was to give up the superior educational conditions of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School to go to a godforsaken place in Anderson Shrek Academy. Chapter 14, Ning Rongrong withdraws. Trash Shrek. For this matter, I have truly thought about it for so many years, and I still haven't been able to figure out any reason. Ning Rongrong, as the daughter of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School sectmaster, belongs to the true top tier of the powerful and wealthy, she has whatever she wants. As the wealthiest sect among the upper 3 sects, would the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School lack resources to cultivate? But Ning Rongrong, somehow, unknown from where, saw Shrek's enrollment declaration, and excitedly ran all the way from Heaven City to Soto City to join Shrek. May I ask, where exactly is Shrek's advantage? Is it what was written in the false propaganda, that Shrek once taught the youngest elder of Spirit Hall on the continent? This is completely fabricated wording by Shrek. Apart from that trash Yu Xiaogang, every other Spirit Hall elder is at least a titled Duluo. If Shrek could teach a titled Duluo, would it be stuck in this dump of a place, Soto City? Therefore, this shows that Ning Rongrong's IQ is lacking, she is completely brain damaged. From this propaganda, one can see the contradictions in Shrek. She stayed at Shrek for so long, yet didn't notice any problems at all. The point of contradiction is, if Shrek is a hidden, low-profile academy, then how do you explain their need to deceive people to recruit students, using a titled Duluo as bait to lure them in? If Shrek is not a hidden, low-profile academy, then how do you explain why they don't go to the resource-rich Heaven City, but instead stay in some godforsaken corner? The only explanation is that Shrek wants fame and students, but lacks teaching resources and ability. They can only choose to leech off the traffic of Spirit Hall and titled Duluo, using deceptive means to lure people in first. For such an academy and such propaganda methods, one could figure it out by using their brain just a little bit. If you really have strength, then if you choose to be low profile, don't use false propaganda. If you choose to be high profile, don't stay in a godforsaken corner. Unfortunately, Shrek has no strength, no resources, only liars. Yet, relying on such shallow scams, they actually managed to deceive students like Ning Rongrong and Daimubai, who are both noble and talented. Taking a closer look at Shrek's so-called geniuses, Ning Rongrong and Daimubai were deceived by false propaganda. Zuqing came because of Daimubai, and Tang San and Xiao Wu came because of Yu Xiaogang. Only Ma Hongjun and Oscar were actually acquired by Shrek themselves. Such an academy, if you remove the connections and false propaganda, only Ma Hongjun and Oscar are left. But Oscar and Ma Hongjun themselves have good talent. Without your teaching, could they not join other sects and receive training? For such a trash school, Ning Rongrong gave up the superior life of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School and ran over there excitedly. If this isn't having a mental illness, what is it? Even if you say Shrek really has a title Duluo, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School has its own father for auxiliary spirit master training, titled Duluo resources, and sword and bone Duluo. Where exactly is Shrek attractive? Or, were you, Ning Rongrong, cursed back then? I suggest Ning Rongrong go find someone to exorcise the spirits, maybe there really is something dirty residing in her brain. Seeing this, Ning Rongrong was completely stunned. She never imagined that just choosing a school would become a sign of lacking intelligence. But when she thought about it carefully, the light screen wasn't wrong at all, it was completely correct. And the next second, the comment section started knocking. Du Guyan, oh, so that's the sharp critique. I have to say, the light screen is right, this Ning Rongrong is indeed mentally ill. Du Guyan, I seem to have heard of Shrek's propaganda, saying something like, only recruit monsters as students. They really are a bunch of brain-damaged monsters. And a Spirit Hall elder, only an idiot would believe this kind of propaganda. Bibi don't let me clarify, among all the elders of Spirit Hall, apart from Yu Xiaogang, no one has any connection to Shrek. And Yu Xiaogang is only an honorary elder. Charming Fox, this Shrek is truly bold, daring to use our Spirit Hall as a bargaining chip for propaganda and deceiving the world. They have already invited death upon themselves. I am an orphan, Tang San is at Shrek, Yu Xiaogang is at Shrek, and now the Ning Rongrong being critique is also at Shrek. I can't understand it, where did they get the luck to deceive so many prodigies? I am an orphan, it seems Spirit Hall had better destroy this academy, otherwise there will surely be disaster. Bibi don't, Shrek, I have noted it. Most loyal believer of the sea god, this Ning Rongrong really has no brains to believe such illogical propaganda. If she is still there, I can only advise her to leave early. Bing Bing is polite, what a pity, a young lady of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School actually wasting her time in such a place. Shrek is doing great harm. Each one of these comments was filled with disparagement for Shrek and Ning Rongrong. The key point was that Bibi Dong, as the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, personally came out to refute the rumors, saying that Shrek was deceiving people. In the Shrek dormitory, Ning Rongrong was almost moved to tears by anger. What the heck, by what right are these people scolding me? I was also deceived, how was I supposed to know there was such shameless propaganda? The most critical thing is, this light screen is actually quite right. Ning Rongrong wiped away her tears and choked out. I've been here for a year or two, and these days have been too bitter. That idiot Yu Xiaobing only knows how to make us run laps every day. The medicine used after running laps and the food we eat can't compare to our 7 treasure glazed tile school at all. And what about that spirit hall elder that Shrek advertised? How come I've never seen them? Now even BB Dong is refuting it. You, Shrek, if I had known you were this pathetic, why would I have come here? Woo woo, Zuqing, Xiao Wu, I think I really am quite stupid. Zuqing helplessly patted Ning Rongrong's shoulder and continued to comfort her. It's okay, Rongrong, at least we know the truth now. When I came here, I didn't care about any propaganda, I just came for that guy Dai Mubai. Now it seems that not only is Yu Xiaobing stealing and deceiving, but this Splendor is also very hypocritical, relying on deceit to recruit students. Which normal academy or sect couldn't provide the educational resources they give. Sigh. Xiao Wu frowned, but we are already here. Still the same thing, now we can only find a way to leave. The sooner we leave, the greater the benefit. It's a pity that little San has already been brainwashed. Ning Rongrong wiped away her tears and nodded heavily. You're right, we absolutely cannot stay in this academy. I will go persuade Oscar again tomorrow. I must make him leave with me, he cannot be delayed any longer. Oscar, Zuqing frowned slightly and muttered, why'd I have a bad premonition that Oscar also has some problems? Chapter 15, Oscar is a womanizer. Ning Rongrong is numb. For instance, the fact that she could fancy Oscar is also incomprehensible. As the saying goes, one who stays near vermilion gets stained red, one who stays near ink gets stained black. People who sleep in the same bed are of the same kind. She came to Shrek, was she so desperate for a man that she developed feelings for Oscar? Why? Because Oscar hides it well. Because he likes you. In reality, Oscar has already played with countless women. In the plot, Ma Hongjun once said that he is not like that pretty boy little Ao, who seduces so many women casually. And in various character lines, it has been mentioned that Oscar had more than one girlfriend before. Not to mention, what was Oscar's attitude toward Ning Rongrong at the beginning? It was choosing a woman. He said to Tang San, Zhu Zuqing is for Dai Mubai, Xiao Wu is for Tang San, he could only choose Ning Rongrong. So you had ideas about all 3 women from the start, and when you realized Ning Rongrong was the easiest to manipulate, you picked her, right? Who do you think you are? Are you picking the concubine here? And don't talk about Oscar's devotion. Of course, the late stage Oscar can indeed go to the far north for Ning Rongrong, but can the lecherous and wretched nature of the early stage Oscar be hidden? In the Stardow Great Forest, when they encountered the Titan Giant Ape, Oscar rushed over to save Ning Rongrong. You think he was saving her? The plot itself revealed his psychological activity. At that time, Oscar was thinking that even if he died, he could take some advantage. To die under the peony flower is to be a romantic ghost even in death. And the cunning nature of Oscar, is he really worse than the others? Every time Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun were about to expose him, talking about Oscar's past, he would desperately stop them. By doing this, he gave Ning Rongrong a label of being pure and devoted, successfully tricking Ning Rongrong. In the end, Ning Rongrong even thought Oscar was a virgin. The only thing that can be said is that Ning Rongrong is indeed stupid enough. Coming to a broken Shrek, finding a man who has slept with who knows how many women, and still thinking she hit the jackpot. Song Yi, who was writing the critique copy in the distance, also began to hesitate. Should he really write Oscar so poorly? In reality, Oscar's performance in the late stage was okay. Regardless of the past, he only had Ning Rongrong as a woman later on. But after thinking about it, Song Yi felt there was nothing wrong with it. He wasn't making things up, everything he said was content from the original work. Oscar was indeed not clean. This was a sharp critique, not a eulogy, so of course it had to be harsh. It was already good that he didn't embellish it. However, he actually mentioned that Oscar went to the far north for Ning Rongrong in the late stage, so it wasn't a total smear. The only thing Song Yi didn't know was that after writing this paragraph, Ning Rongrong, staying in the Shrek dormitory, was almost on the verge of a breakdown. Shrek Academy. Ning Rongrong was practically weeping, her hands covering her face, unable to believe it. Why did even Oscar lie to me? I originally thought he was sincere to me. Now that the light screen mentioned it, I realize he has played with I don't know how many women. To think he is just like Fatty and the others. But he acted so pure in front of me, woo. Zhu Zuqing and Xiao Wu look at each other, completely at a loss. Zhu Zuqing kept stroking Ning Rongrong's back, she was the one who understood the situation best. Her fiancé Dai Mubai, wasn't he dissolute and obscene, disgusting to the extreme? If not for the so-called engagement, how could she have taken a fancy to Dai Mubai? Ma Hongjun didn't matter much, after all, he was just a teammate. As long as he didn't affect them, they couldn't say much. But now, Ning Rongrong had just developed some feelings for Oscar, only to encounter such a shock. The only one she thought was clean among the 3, Oscar, was actually a womanizer. Zhu Zuqing could only sigh, lamenting, Rongrong, I can understand your feelings. Those men don't know, they think the past doesn't matter. But what happened in the past determines who they are. However, this light screen didn't deny everything. It also said that little Ao would go to the far north for you in the future, so he should still have you in his heart. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong's face showed only mockery. She stared at Zhu Zuqing and asked, Zuqing, can you accept it? The future is ethereal, but the past is real. I asked you, when you were with Boss Dai, do you think of him doing those things in bed with other women? You think of Boss Dai showing his lust with other women, they are venting their desires, and their bodies are covered in disgusting moisture. Can you accept this kind of thing? Zhu Zuqing heard this, and in her mind, she involuntarily imagined Dai Mubai having relations with other women. Dai Mubai relied on money to make other women kneel before him like bitches. Then he let himself vent his desires, doing whatever he wanted. That's right, could she accept it? Zhu Zuqing thought of these things, and her chest felt a sharp pain, as if her heart was being cut by thousands of knives. Wrong. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken so lightly. Why are all these men like this? They don't need affection, they don't need love, they only want the flesh, and they are even full of deception. Wrong. By the end, Zhu Zuqing and Ning Rongrong hugged each other, only able to rely on one another. Xiao Wu looked at the two of them and hugged them too, trying her best to comfort them. Before, Ning Rongrong didn't know, but now she knew about Oscar's deception and concealment. I'm afraid this couple has also reached the end. Xiao Wu turned her head to look at the light screen. She couldn't understand why all these people in Shrek were so disgusting. And the critique of Ning Rongrong hadn't ended yet. Could it be that she still had some foolish future? Chapter 16, Duluo Continent becomes a romance continent. I won't comment much on Ning Rongrong's virtues or vices for now, because the theme of this sharp critique is Ning Rongrong's intelligence. Whenever Ning Rongrong did something stupid, Song Yi didn't hold back at all. He immediately started typing, beginning a new sharp critique. Inside the light screen. If joining Shrek and being PUAED into fancying Oscar is the staple food of Ning Rongrong's stupidity. Closing square bracket. Then her so-called reckless impulses are just the side dishes of her stupidity. Closing square bracket. Let's look closely at the plot. How many stupid things has this idiot Ning Rongrong done, relying on her status every day, thinking that being a successor of the 7 treasure glazed tile school allows her to do whatever she wants. Closing square bracket. When she first arrived at Shrek, Ning Rongrong pretended to be a good girl, but during training, she chose to slack off and cheat. Closing square bracket. When she was finally exposed by Flender, she remembered she was a little witch and prepared to threaten Flender. Closing square bracket. Later, when Dai Mubai wanted to discipline her, she suggested paying Tang San to kill Dai Mubai. Closing square bracket. Seriously, what were you thinking at that moment? Closing square bracket. You are a support system spirit master, you snuck out, and you have no one protecting you, yet you insult Flender. If he acted on impulse, Flender might suffer retaliation from your sect, but the damage you would suffer would be irreversible. Closing square bracket. And asking Tang-san to kill Daimubai. Daimubai is the big boss of the academy. If Tang-san really made a move, could he defeat Flender and the others and kill Daimubai? Closing square bracket. Is Tang-san an idiot? He takes your pittance, and he might end up getting killed for it. Closing square bracket. Furthermore, the change in attitude. You should have either kept pretending to be a good girl or been reckless and unreasonable from the start. Closing square bracket. I don't understand. If you couldn't keep up the act with your own personality, why force yourself to pretend to be a good girl? What, to satisfy some special fetish? Closing square bracket. Just looking at this, N.A.N.'s intelligence, especially her intelligence regarding social interaction and benefit calculation, is practically non-existent. Closing square bracket. And later, when N.A.N. got Tang-san's hidden weapons and went back to the sect to test them, she really went for the kill against her own grandpa's sword. Closing square bracket. The plot clearly states that Sword Duluo Chenshin had to spend energy and time to digest those toxins. If he hadn't handled it well, it would have been irreversible damage. Closing square bracket. Wow, your intelligence is truly something. In the Duluo world, every spirit master is a glass cannon with high offense and low defense. If they don't use spirit power to protect themselves, their physical strength is just so-so. Closing square bracket. You're really afraid your grandpa's sword won't die soon enough, right? With a brain like this, it's puzzling whether it's the influence of her personality or just naturally low intelligence. Closing square bracket. There's no need to continue the sharp critique on other matters. In the late stage, N.A.N. completely became a support accessory, and besides pairing up with Oscar, she didn't have much of a role. Closing square bracket. Overall, N.A.N.'s performance in the early stages was purely brain dead, and in the late stages, she was completely a tool character to set off Tang-san and Oscar without much significance. Closing square bracket. Sharp critique finished. Closing square bracket. Only after finishing all this did Song Yi laugh mockingly twice in his room, ending it. It wasn't that he didn't want to continue complaining, but that N.A.N. really didn't have much of a role in the late stage. She spent every day dating Oscar, and at most, she helped resurrect Tang-san in the finale. Under other circumstances, she hardly did anything independently, so what else was there to critique? Similarly, after reading this sharp critique, the connected audience members couldn't help but complain. Du Guiant looking at it this way, this N.A.N. really has some problems. She doesn't look like a successor of the upper three sects at all. Has N.A.N. connected to the light screen? Do you feel ashamed? Quote. Bing Bing is polite, so N.A.N.'s main stupidity is still related to Shrek. Falling for a lecherous bud like Oscar, becoming Tang-san's accessory, and using hidden weapons to hurt her grandfather are all caused by this school. Quote. Bing Bing is polite. Is it possible that this Shrek is just incompetent, which is why they teach people to become more and more problematic? Quote. Most loyal believer of the sea got such an academy with collapsed morality, walking on a twisted path. If it had appeared within our sea spirit master scope, it would have been smashed and shut down by the public long ago. Although this N.A.N. is stupid, she is also somewhat pitiful. Quote. I am an orphan. It seems that whether they have a grudge against the spirit hall or it's their own problem, this Shrek has no need to exist. Quote. BB Dong men again. Could it be that we women are all damaged by those useless men? Why does this supreme pontiff always feel that the Duluo continent has a problem? Why does everything end in failure due to emotions? Quote. Inside the Pope's palace, BB Dong couldn't help but sigh when she saw that it was once again the influence of men. Thinking about it carefully, everyone who has appeared or been mentioned so far, including herself, her daughter, and her disciple, has all suffered because of love. BB Dong couldn't help but ponder. The Duluo continent will sooner or later turn into a romance continent. Quote. Now that I know the true face of Yu Xiaogang, I must not continue like this. Quote. The grand plan of the spirit hall is what matters. Quote. She comforted herself with a few more words and continued watching the comment section. Shrek. N.A.N. felt dead inside. Looking at the finished sharp critique, she could only bitterly smile and feel despair. That, Bing Bing is polite, is right, everything is Shrek's fault. Quote. Perhaps, I really must leave. Quote. Wrong. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuqing looked at her. N.A.N. forced herself to swallow her tears and look at her two sisters, initiating the inquiry. Zuqing, Xiao Wu, quote. Shrek is not a place worth staying, you should come with me. Quote. Are you going to stay in this kind of place forever, becoming appendages to those lecherous bugs, and completely losing yourselves? Quote. Upon hearing this, Zhu Zuqing couldn't help but think of the image of Daimubai sleeping with other women, and she felt only heartache. She clenched her right fist, seemingly hesitating. Should I, really just leave like this? Quote. But where else can I go? Quote. Come with me back to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Quote. N.A.N. had almost made up her mind. She had to leave this Shrek, so she persuaded. Our 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School is not short of resources at all. Let's go. The 3 of us sisters will leave together. Quote. But Daimubai, although Zhu Zuqing was disgusted, she still had a tiny bit of lingering attachment. After all, she was nominally Daimubai's woman. She was still missing a little, just a sliver of persuasion to finally break through the window. It was a pity that N.A.N. wasn't qualified enough and couldn't truly influence her. Meanwhile, Xiao Wu thought of Tang-san. Wrong. I also want to leave, but I cannot give up on Little San. Quote. Little San has been bewitched by Yu Xiaogang. I must save him first. Quote. But didn't you say Tang-san got angry at you? N.A.N. frowned. Xiao Wu, men from Shrek cannot be relied upon. Quote. After being educated by Yu Xiaogang for so many years, do you really think Tang-san is still the third brother in your heart? Quote. Quote. Xiao Wu lowered her head, feeling very painful. She wanted to refute and speak up for Tang-san, but what came to mind was the daytime when Tang-san got angry at her. This was the first time Xiao Wu had seen Tang-san lose his temper. It seemed he had really touched his reverse scale. Chapter 17. 3 girls quit. Completely sever ties with Shrek. I don't know. Xiao Wu smiled bitterly. Is it really me who is more important, or is it the so-called Grandmaster? I still want to see. I believe in Little San's feelings for me. Feelings. N.A.N. wiped the tears from her face and sneered. I said it before, what kind of man who has been indoctrinated by Shrek can be relied upon? You still have expectations for him. Don't let the light screen critique you later, saying how you were tricked by Tang-san and became his vassal. Critique me. Xiao Wu looked at the light screen on the side, finally panicked, and realized that this was something that exposed her secrets. She thought in horror. That's right, what if the light screen critiques me, and everyone knows I'm a spirit beast? What if Little San knows I'm a spirit beast? And people like Flender, and Rong and Zuqing, when the time comes, can they really accept me, instead of keeping me as a spirit ring? Suddenly thinking of this, Xiao Wu realized how much the existence of this light screen affected her. No, I cannot stay at Shrek anymore, I want to go back. Xiao Wu. Hearing this, N.A.N. and the others thought Xiao Wu had figured it out and hurriedly persuaded her. Xiao Wu, you are right, this Shrek is absolutely not a place to stay. You guys come with me to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. With me there, no one can bully you. Zhu Zuqing was still hesitant, while Xiao Wu was contemplating. Rong is good to me, but she doesn't know yet that I am a spirit beast. But if I am critiqued by the light screen, causing information to leak, and then I go to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, the 2 titled Duluo there won't let me off. Even if it isn't exposed, they can see my true form. Could it be that I can really only return to the Stardew Great Forest? Thinking of this, Xiao Wu only felt a sharp pain in her chest. Having come to the human world for so long, in the end, she still had to slink back. She had finally managed to acknowledge a brother, but because of a mediocre teacher, it caused a rift between him and her. Perhaps she really shouldn't have appeared in the human world. Xiao Wu despairingly self-deprecatingly smiled, and finally shook her head to refuse. Wrong, can you accompany me to the Stardew Great Forest tomorrow? I still have one thing to handle. Only after I handle it can I have peace of mind. Go to the Stardew Great Forest. Xiao Wu, do you want to obtain a spirit ring? But you are still. Zhu Zuqing was intrigued and asked. Xiao Wu shook her head, just carrying some depression and sadness, explaining, no, it is a private matter of mine. Wrong, is that okay? Go with me to the Stardew Great Forest tomorrow, and then we will talk about going to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. This, alright. N.A.N was already determined to leave Shrek, so going to the forest was just wasting a day, it didn't matter. The three simply discussed how to leave, and finally decided to use asking for leave for business as an excuse and just leave directly. If they rashly said they were quitting, Shrek probably wouldn't let them go. Flounder and Yu Xiaobing might even forcefully drag them back to stay. Finally, the critique ended, and N.A.N's thoughts were complicated, but she also felt some relief. She lay on the not-so-soft bed in the Shrek dormitory, sighing to herself. Perhaps, I still have to thank this person who was critiquing. If it weren't for him, I would have already become Oscar's vassal. If I had the chance to meet the person who was critiquing, I must express my gratitude in person. ... Spirit City, a house in Spirit Village. Song Yi had just prepared to claim today's critique award when he suddenly sneezed. He rubbed his nose and said casually, who was thinking of me or cursing me? It couldn't be your Guzi next door, right? He is also a spirit master. Last time he fought with me over a spirit hall mission, we almost fought. That mission was worth a full 2 gold coins, damn it. However, putting other things aside, he would claim the reward first. Because this time the critique's quality and word count were not as good or as much as the reward for critiquing Yu Xiaobing, and it wasn't the first time reward. So the critique reward was not too good, but it was still usable. Congratulations to the master for completing the task. Obtained reward, storage gift pack, a storage ring that can store living things, containing 100,000 gold coins. Actually, money as a reward was far inferior to rewards of special abilities. However, for a spirit master, in the early stages, one still needs to rely on money, whether it is for travel expenses to go everywhere or for purchasing resources, it is indispensable. 100,000 gold coins, plus a storage ring that can store living things, was absolutely enough. Good, at least I won't lack anything in terms of materials, and my spirit power is almost at level 20. I will strive to cultivate hard today, achieve a breakthrough to level 20, and go to the Stardew Great Forest tomorrow to find a suitable spirit ring. My current first spirit ring is 1,000 year one, the second spirit ring must be at least several thousand years. Fortunately, Song Yi now possessed a God King level spirit, the Tree of Life. Whether it was fighting or saving his life, he was handy at it, and Spirit City was not far from the Stardew Great Forest, so he would look for it slowly. After saying this, Song Yi hurriedly immersed himself in extreme cultivation. He was just a little bit away, he had to hurry up and achieve a breakthrough to level 20. The next day. Shrek Academy. Oscar followed N.A.N and asked very puzzledly. Wrong, why are you three suddenly asking for leave to go somewhere? And all three girls are asking for leave together, did something happen? He cared as usual, after all, it was indeed strange for the three of them to leave at the same time. If it weren't for N.A.N using the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School as an excuse, Flounder might not have successfully approved it. However, now that Oscar was inquiring, N.A.N felt very annoyed. She didn't know before, but now she knew that Oscar had also slept with who knows how many women, and she felt nauseated just looking at him. Now seeing this pretty boy Oscar, she couldn't help but think of this man entangled in fighting with other women, constant sweat flowing out, the whole room filled with obscenity. Thinking of this scene, N.A.N felt heart-wrenching pain and extreme disgust. Coincidentally, at this moment, Oscar's hand was about to reach over, and N.A.N violently shook it off and said coldly. Wrong, something you can call me. What is your status? Do I have any relationship with you? My taking leave has nothing to do with you, get away from me immediately. The sudden change in attitude instantly left Oscar dumbfounded. This. How could he have imagined that Wrong, who had been intimate with him and was about to establish a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, would suddenly be so fierce to him? Could it be that he said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing, and didn't discover it, making the young lady angry? Oscar had also played with quite a few women and was relatively knowledgeable, so he hurriedly opened his mouth. Wrong, you are so angry, it must be that I did something wrong. But I just wanted to care about you, the three of you girls leaving, maybe there will be danger. Wrong, you tell me first, did I say the wrong thing? I apologize to you, and then tell me where you were going, okay? I am really worried and afraid that something will happen to you. For women, no matter what, you must always show that you are doing it for her sake, and every sentence must reflect that you are caring about her. Oscar understood that no matter where he was wrong, he would admit his mistake first, and then express his concern. However, the current N.A.N was no longer the original one, and hearing these words, she only felt disgust, and waved her hand again, cursing out. Where I go has nothing to do with you. Get lost immediately. Chapter 18, Yu Xiaobing. Fuck you, Tang-san was speechless. N.A.N had no intention of wasting any more time with a parasite like Oscar, and even kicked him in the leg. Get lost. Oscar was completely stunned, but seeing N.A.N acting as if she had gone mad, he was at a complete loss. In the end, he could only leave in fear, to prevent anything untoward from happening. N.A.N's expression was icy, but her heart was incredibly conflicted, because once upon a time, she had actually had feelings for Oscar. It was just a pity that this man had deceived her. She shook her head and left. At the main gate of Shrek Academy, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuqing were already prepared, having even called for a carriage. Upon seeing N.A.N, they took the initiative to pull her into the carriage, and they left together. The three of them sat in the carriage, looking back at Shrek Academy where they had stayed for so long, each of their faces filled with complex expressions. At this moment, Xiao Wu couldn't help but burst into tears. Why did it come to this? I didn't even say goodbye to little San. Woo. N.A.N and Zhu Zuqing were heartbroken listening to her, and N.A.N comforted her. It's okay, Xiao Wu. If Tang-san has truly been brainwashed by Yu Xiaobing, then he isn't worth your affection. If you are truly in Tang-san's heart, he will come to find you. Didn't you say you were going to leave him a letter last night? Xiao Wu nodded. This was the only thing she could do. If she went to say goodbye, she would definitely lose control of her emotions and reveal the matter of leaving Shrek, and then none of the three would be able to leave. N.A.N and Zhu Zuqing did not understand. They thought they had only given up on Tang-san. But only Xiao Wu herself knew that if it weren't for the fact that her identity as a spirit beast might be exposed, how could she possibly leave? If she were not a spirit beast, but just an ordinary person, she wouldn't have to worry about her safety. Even if Tang-san were truly brainwashed by Yu Xiaobing, she would stay by his side and find a way to save him. It is just a pity that there are no ifs in this world. The three girls rode in the carriage, heading towards the Stardew Great Forest. Shrek Academy. Tang-san had just finished his cultivate session and climbed down from the roof when he immediately saw a dejected Oscar. He was a bit puzzled and asked, "Little Ao, what's with that expression?" Oscar looked up and saw it was Tang San, and said wearily, "I don't know. This morning, Rong Rong and the other two said they had some girl business to attend to and asked for leave to leave together. I tried to show concern for Rong Rong, but it seems I offended her. She gave me a good scolding and even kicked me. Asked for leave." Upon hearing this, Tang San immediately became vigilant. What kind of leave? Did Xiao Wu also ask for leave? Yeah, the three of them together. Oscar frowned. Hearing that Xiao Wu had left, Tang San's mind went completely blank. What on earth is going on? How come Xiao Wu and the others have seemed like different people these past few days? I already found it strange when Ning Rongrong asked about Grandmaster's theories earlier, and now the three of them have left completely. How could this be? Just then, Daimubai suddenly ran over from a distance, holding a letter. Little San, there's a letter here. It seems to be from Xiao Wu for you. I found it at the entrance of your dormitory. Xiao Wu's letter. Tang San rushed over and took the envelope. Coincidentally, because the three girls had taken leave at the same time, others also felt something was amiss, and Yu Xiaogang, Zhao Wuji, and Flender all walked over. Yu Xiaogang had already heard from Flender, and he had been reprimanding Flender on the way. Such a big matter, and you didn't even tell me. Flender, do you still see me as your brother? Flender apologized as he walked. Xiaogang, I didn't mean to. Ning Rongrong used the 7 treasure glazed tile school to threaten me. And she promised repeatedly that it was just to attend to some private business. I thought it might be those kinds of things girls have, so it wouldn't be right not to prove it. 3 students leaving at once, even a pig could tell something is wrong. Yu Xiaogang scolded Flender in frustration, and at the same time, the few teachers arrived beside Tang San and the others. These people had come over to ask about the situation and see if Tang San and the others knew anything. Unexpectedly, they happened to see the letter in Tang San's hand, and Yu Xiaogang quickly spoke up. Little San, do you also know about Xiao Wu and the others leaving? We just heard Mubai say that this was left for you by Xiao Wu. Tang San was equally bewildered, but his expression was serious. Yes, it is Xiao Wu's handwriting on the envelope. Grandmaster, Dean, what exactly happened? Yu Xiaogang explained. This morning, Ning Rongrong represented the 3 girls and went to Flender to ask for leave, saying they had private matters and needed a day off. Flender didn't notice anything suspicious, so he agreed. But who would have thought that the 3 of them seemed to have planned this long ago, having even prepared a carriage? They left immediately after asking for leave without stopping at all, which seems problematic. We came here because we wanted to ask if you knew anything. It seems now that Xiao Wu didn't even say goodbye to you. Hearing the last sentence, Tang San's expression immediately darkened. What could be so urgent that Xiao Wu wouldn't even tell me? Could it be that I'm not even worth her trust? I am her brother. Yu Xiaogang frowned, also feeling that Xiao Wu was not very sensible, so he said. Little San, read what the letter says first. Tang San quickly opened the envelope, and everyone looked at the contents of the letter together. Unexpectedly, the moment the letter was opened, the words that caught their eyes were a farewell. Brother, by the time you see this letter, I will likely have already left Shrek. Actually, we weren't simply asking for leave, but truly leaving Shrek. From now on, just consider that we have dropped out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep it from you, it's just that for some reasons, I cannot say goodbye to you. Brother, the things I said to you the day before yesterday were not because I wanted to argue with you about anything, but just because I wanted to save you. Yu Xiaogang is not a reliable person. I am afraid you already know that his theories were all stolen, which is why you were so indignant when I mentioned it the other day. Brother, I cannot understand what kind of love potion Yu Xiaogang has fed you to make you defend him so much, even when you know that his things are stolen, you still make excuses for him. I really doubt, in your heart, who is more important, me or Yu Xiaogang. Do you still remember the words you said to me back then? Perhaps they can no longer be realized. But before that, I still want to tell you, never trust Yu Xiaogang. Even I can now point out a large number of problems with his theories, for example. The content of the letter was written in Xiao Wu's tone, without being too sentimental or too deliberate. The main theme was saying goodbye, and by the way, helping Tang San expose Yu Xiaogang's problems. Reading to the end, most of the content pointed out the loopholes in Yu Xiaogang's theories, as well as the final farewell. Throughout the entire letter, Xiao Wu never mentioned where she was going because she was afraid that this letter might be seen by others. And after Tang San finished reading, he felt as if the sky had collapsed. Only then did he realize that the person who stole and took others' achievements that Xiao Wu spoke of 2 days ago was not himself, but Yu Xiaogang. Chapter 19. Tang San rebels against Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang collapses. I. At that time, how could Tang San have imagined that Yu Xiaogang was a thief, doing the same thing as himself, stealing the fruits of others' labor to show off in front of others? The chance of such a thing overlapping was too small. Tang San naturally thought the words were about himself. After all, he had already mastered so many miraculous hidden weapons techniques and various cultivation techniques at the age of 6, even a pig could see that this was not something a 6-year-old child could create. The only possibility was that he had learned them from somewhere else. It was just that Tang San had never explained it to the outside world, and others found it hard to ask, not even his father had ever asked. So when Xiao Wu asked about stealing and misappropriating achievements 2 days ago, the only person Tang San thought of was himself. He judged that Xiao Wu had guessed the origin of his cultivation techniques and hidden weapons techniques, so she was insinuating against him. That was why he was so furious. After all, this was his most critical reverse scale. Even because of this, a rift formed between the two. Who could have imagined that? Damn it, Xiao Wu wasn't talking about him, but about this beast, Yu Xiaogang. Because of this misunderstanding, he had even raged at Xiao Wu, throwing a tantrum at the girl he loved. Just because of Yu Xiaogang. Looking at the contents of the letter, Tang San immediately understood that Yu Xiaogang was also someone who did underhanded things. Even worse than himself. At least he had left the Buddha's Fury Tang Lotus for the Tang sect of his previous life, but Yu Xiaogang plagiarized others' theories and even modified them for the worse. Thinking of this, and thinking of Xiao Wu's departure, which might also be related to him throwing a tantrum, Tang San felt his blood surge, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. Damn it. I actually misunderstood Xiao Wu, thinking she was talking about. Damn it. Xiao Wu, my Xiao Wu. Tang San's feelings for Xiao Wu, although somewhat selfish and controlling, were undoubtedly intense. It was just that this affection was a bit twisted. So it was only natural for him to have such a reaction. As for the others, they were all spirit masters with good eyesight, and they carefully read the entire content of the letter. At first, upon seeing the second sentence, which said that the 3 of them were leaving Shrek for good, everyone was terrified. What was going on? The 3 girls had been doing just fine at Shrek, why were they suddenly leaving? The academy had just lost 3 important geniuses. Moreover, seeing the description later, where Xiao Wu also called Yu Xiaogang a charlatan who deceived the world and stole fame, all the students and teachers were even more shocked. In particular, Xiao Wu had listed many theoretical problems that were indeed directed at Yu Xiaogang, overturning his theories. One by one, the students looked at Tang San and Yu Xiaogang with complex expressions and growing suspicion. Without restraint, Ma Hongjun, who had just crowded over, took the initiative to speak. Damn, Xiao Wu and the others actually withdrew from the school. And looking at what she wrote, it all makes sense. It seems the Grandmaster's theories really don't hold water. Oscar was terrified. How could this be? No wonder my Rongrong suddenly lost her temper and left. Could it be because of the Grandmaster? Did they leave because they knew the Grandmaster's theories were problematic and felt that Shrek was no good? Daimubai also had a gloomy face, thinking, wait, 2 days ago, Zuqing started trying to persuade me. She didn't say it explicitly, but she kept hinting, seemingly disparaging our academy, and even hinting that she wanted to take me away. I didn't pay attention and just retorted a few times. After all, I've stayed at Shrek for quite a while. Hearing this, Oscar also reacted and quickly replied, that's right, Rong also told me that 2 days ago. She almost explicitly said that Shrek had problems and that staying here was a waste of youth. I, like you, boss I, felt that I was a Shrek person, so I hinted a refusal, indicating I wouldn't leave. Could it be because of this that they felt Shrek was really no good, the theories were flawed, and it would ruin their future? Is that why the three of them left together? When the conclusion reached this point, everyone looked at Yu Xiaobing simultaneously. If they hadn't guessed wrong, this was the only possibility. Yu Xiaobing had forced them away. Tang San instantly recalled the last 2 days, as well as the letter Xiao Wu had written, and he muttered in his heart. Combined with what Mubai and Lil Ao said, and the fact that Xiao Wu hinted at me at the time, she was actually talking about the teacher. Could it be that they? Thinking of Xiao Wu, Tang San couldn't help but reveal a cold expression. If it were someone else slandering his teacher, he would kill them without hesitation. But Xiao Wu was different. Xiao Wu was the woman he loved most. In the original work, Tang San was indeed willing to disregard his own safety for Xiao Wu. At least, Xiao Wu was much more important than Yu Xiaobing. Thinking of this, Tang San stared fixedly at Yu Xiaobing. Yu Xiaobing, surrounded by everyone, was terrified and quickly spoke up. What are you talking about? How could my theories be problematic? They must have misunderstood me. My theories were all researched by myself. I am the theoretical grandmaster of the spirit world, even the current supreme pontiff acknowledges them. Could it be that the departure of a few little girls is also my fault? At this moment, Dai Mubai sneered from the side. Grandmaster, Xiao Wu's letter clearly states it. The current supreme pontiff is your ex-girlfriend. Of course, he trusts you. You didn't rely on this relationship to become a so-called grandmaster, did you? That's right, I've long felt it was strange. Oscar frowned. Apart from running laps every day, what else have you taught us? Who doesn't know how to teach running laps? I can do it too. I'm a grandmaster too. Grandmaster, how do you explain what Boss Dai said? Yu Xiaobing was horrified. Looking at these people, they were actually blaming him just because a few women had left. How bold. Were these women more important than a theoretical grandmaster like him? He retorted sternly. Dai Mubai, you are slandering me. Although Bibi Dong and I had a past relationship, my achievements have nothing to do with whether he is the supreme pontiff. My status was earned entirely through my theories. Bullshit, Dai Mubai mocked. I have heard many of those theories of yours in my family long ago. I didn't pay attention before and just thought it was a coincidence. Now that I look at it, it really is possible that you plagiarized them. I'll ask you, how do you explain the questions and loopholes regarding your theories in Xiao Wu's letter? Yu Xiaobing was only level 29 and could not withstand the pressure from Dai Mubai at all, so he retreated involuntarily. He had no choice but to attack Xiao Wu. This is Xiao Wu's insult to me. She's just a little girl, who knows where she heard these slanders against me, and she actually believed them. This girl, I have educated her for many years, and now she dares to question me. I think she is unfaithful and unfilial. Do you believe a little girl instead of me, the Grandmaster? After finishing, he specifically looked at Tang San, hoping his disciple would speak up for him. However, he shouldn't have mentioned Xiao Wu. After hearing this, Tang San's face grew increasingly gloomy. He stared fixedly at Yu Xiaobing and scolded, Teacher, regardless of whether you were slandered or not, you cannot talk about Xiao Wu. Others might not believe it, but I believe Xiao Wu. Chapter 20, Xiao Wu's reveal. Song Yi is stunned. Tang San could accept Xiao Wu speaking ill of Yu Xiaobing, but he absolutely could not accept anyone else speaking ill of Xiao Wu. Hearing Yu Xiaobing speak, the gaze he leveled at him was filled with sharpness. Seeing this, Yu Xiaobing involuntarily took 2 steps back and swallowed hard. Fortunately, Flender stepped in to change the subject. Alright, now is not the time to dwell on any of Xiaobing's theories. They haven't been gone long. Let's split up and search in different directions, we might still find them. If we really can't find them by tonight, we'll regroup and think of another plan. HMPH. Tang San calmed down, thinking that Yu Xiaobing was his teacher after all, it wouldn't be right to say anything. He suppressed his anger and decided to search for them. Dai Mubai, Oscar, and the others were also angry about losing their women, but they had no choice but to start searching. On the other side. Song Yi had already arrived at the outer perimeter of the Stardew Great Forest, preparing to find a decent life attribute spirit beast to serve as his spirit ring. His tree of life naturally had to focus on life force. However, being on the outer perimeter of the Stardew Great Forest, finding a suitable spirit beast was a matter of luck. As time passed, he had not yet discovered the best existence. Continuing the search until nearly noon, Song Yi still hadn't discovered any spirit beasts focused on life force. He returned to the edge of the area, preparing to eat something and take a break. Spirit beasts related to life force are indeed hard to find. It seems I'll have to go deeper this afternoon. Time for lunch now. Song Yi was not short on money or storage space, so he had brought plenty of gourmet food to enjoy. However, just as he found a good spot to lean back, he suddenly sensed someone outside preparing to enter the Stardew Great Forest. Song Yi didn't want to get involved, but the sounds grew closer, as if they were about to pass right by him. So, he had no choice but to climb a tree as a precaution. A moment later, he saw 3 young female figures walk in and stop right under the tree where Song Yi was. Among the 3, one wore a pink dress with a scorpion tail braid at the back, one wore a light green dress with her hair loose, the last one was dressed in leather, entirely in black, with a proud figure. Especially the last one, because her figure was so exaggerated and Song Yi happened to be right above them, he could see a large expanse of snowy white skin on that woman. Song Yi froze on the spot, thinking, damn, how do these 3's outfits look so much like the 3 girls from Shrek? At this time, they shouldn't be hunting for spirit rings, right? Or did they follow someone else here? Just then, voices came from below. Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing looked at Xiao Wu, very curious. Ning Rongrong even took the initiative to ask, Xiao Wu, we have left Shrek now. Whatever it is, tell us quickly. We can help you solve it, and then we can return to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Zhu Zuqing nodded. She had also decided to leave and follow Ning Rongrong to her sect. However, at this point, Xiao Wu ultimately could not hide it. She had tricked them into coming to the Stardew Great Forest just to go home. And while she was at it, before leaving, she wanted to express her feelings and say goodbye to Ning Rongrong and the other. Thinking of that mysterious light screen, which would likely expose her identity sooner or later, Xiao Wu was no longer prepared to hide it and responded proactively. I'm sorry, Rongrong, Zuqing. I'm afraid I cannot go to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School with you. But the moment she spoke, Ning Rongrong and the other were very surprised. Why? Looking at the puzzled Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing, Xiao Wu was still slightly hesitant and afraid. But thinking that these 2 were her best sisters, she didn't want to keep hiding it before she left. So, after comforting herself for a few seconds, she finally spoke, stating directly, because I am not human, I am actually a spirit beast. After saying this, she proactively looked up to check Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing's reactions. Sure enough, in an instant, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing's faces were filled with shock and confusion. Fearing they had heard wrong, the 2 stared fixedly at Xiao Wu. Ning Rongrong quickly asked back, Xiao Wu, what are you saying? You, how could you possibly be? You are clearly the same as us, why would you say such things? But Xiao Wu shook her head violently, tears inadvertently welling up in her eyes, and she hurriedly spoke. No, I am indeed not human. I am a 100,000-year spirit beast in human form, but my essence still belongs to the spirit beast category. This is also the reason why I cannot go with you to the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Your sect has 2 titled Luo, they would certainly be able to discover my true form. At that time, my life could not be guaranteed. But you were my best sisters. I didn't want to just leave like that, so I tricked you into coming here to tell you the truth while ensuring my safety. I'm sorry, Rongrong, Zuqing. I have been deceiving you all along. What? This. After hearing this, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing were even more shocked and completely stunned. They had truly thought that coming to the forest with Xiao Wu was just to resolve some private matters and then go to the 7 treasure glazed tile school together. Xiao Wu treated them as sisters, and they treated Xiao Wu as a close friend. But who could have expected that just after arriving in the forest, Xiao Wu would drop such a huge secret? How could they accept this? Most importantly, looking at Xiao Wu's tears and expression, the two knew that this was likely not a lie. Ning Rongrong said with immense surprise, Xiao Wu, are you really a spirit beast? Zuqing was equally curious, her eyes full of questions. Xiao Wu nodded painfully and slowly explained, yes. That's why I have to avoid you every time I obtain a spirit ring, because as a spirit beast, I can condense my own spirit ring. I'm sorry, Rongrong, I'm sorry, Zuqing. By the end, she didn't know how else to explain, and she was truly filled with apology. She could only try her best to express, however, Rongrong, Zuqing, no matter what, you are still my best sisters. I will definitely remember you, so I am willing to tell you the secret. I can no longer stay at Shrek, and only the two of you can go back to the 7 treasure glazed tile school. In the future, I will go back to the depths of the Stardew Great Forest and slowly cultivate on my own. Perhaps one day, when I cultivate to the titled Luo realm, I can come out to find you again. Xiao Wu. How could it be like this? Listening to these very sad words and seeing the sister they spent every day with determined to leave, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zuqing also couldn't bear it. Now that they knew Xiao Wu was a spirit beast, the only thing in their hearts was a stinging pain. They harbored no covetousness for 100,000 years spirit ring, on the contrary, they only felt heartache for Xiao Wu. Ning Rongrong thought for a moment, then directly hugged Xiao Wu. Tears falling, she said excitedly. I don't care. Xiao Wu, I don't care if you are human or spirit beast. I only know that you are my sister. Xiao Wu, if we leave, how lonely will you be staying in this huge forest all by yourself? Come with me, I swear on my life that I will never let anyone hurt you, okay. Chapter 21, Songyi captured, yearning heart broken red. Zuqing listened, also stepped forward and stroked Xiao Wu's back, promising solemnly. Xiao Wu, I am your sister too. Since you trust me so much, I will protect you as well. So what if you are a spirit beast? So what if we are humans? In any case, you are our friend, and we will never let anyone hurt you. If you can't go to the 7 treasure glazed tile school, I'll accompany you somewhere else. Anyway, I'm also a homeless person. The two of them were very clear in their attitude, they only cared about the person, not about race or bloodline. Since they were friends, they would be friends for a lifetime, this was not to be missed. Hearing this, Xiao Wu was naturally very moved, and tears streamed down even more profusely. However, she remained relatively calm even at this moment. Xiao Wu hugged them both in sorrow and continued. No, even if you won't hurt me, as a 100,000 year spirit beast, I will always invite disaster. I cannot harm you. Rongrong, Zuqing, you should go. I am very